Hello everyone and welcome to Deathy's Death Slam. We've got the second North American edition, and today joining me is Jord. How are you doing? Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm really excited. I want to say a quick message. Basically, thank you to all of you guys for joining us today, everybody that's watching. But I also want to give a shout out to everyone in, the backstage, everyone that's handling things behind the scenes. So as far as production goes, quick shout out to Griffin, who's helped orchestrating. Shout out to Kashi, who's producing this cast. Shout out to Dia, who's going to be the observer today. We've got Shush, that's going to be observing the second stream. We've got Sochin, that's going to be producing Stream B, so feel free to check out Stream B, by the way. It's going to be a pinned message. And then we've got a bunch of other people. Math and Mox are going to be casting on Stream B. And then there's so many people behind the scenes. Shout out to Ref, Daniel. I mean, basically anyone, all the admins. I can't name everyone, but there's a lot of people that have helped kind of make this a reality. And I think that we've really, we're really ambitious. There's 24 teams, so shout out to all 144 players that are participating. And yeah, I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, hopefully everything is still working now. There we go. Yeah, figuring out some technical difficulties here, but we are all good. And thank you to everyone in the production as well. And thank you, Deathy, for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. I always love getting in here, getting some casts in. And now we can start talking about the first game here. It will be Steamhappy versus Shopkeepers. You know these teams better than I would, Deathy, so you want to talk about them maybe a little bit.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's never the start of a stream if there's not some technical difficulties, right? So makes sense. As far as the teams, so I don't know the teams necessarily that well, but one thing that I do know is that Steamhappy, some players on that team, they actually scrimmed TF2 Boomers quite some time ago. So we had Icy Who and Slitherus, who we scrimmed in the past. And they were kind of I guess you could describe them as being in the tier 2 scene. They weren't as good as the top 4, top 5 NA teams, but they were still pretty good players. So now they're in the Oracle Phantom bracket. So just for everyone at home, there's basically 2 brackets in this tournament. There's Oracle Phantom, and there's going to be Emissary Archon. So the first match we're covering is part of the Oracle Phantom bracket, so to speak. All the matches today are purely for seeding, so nobody gets eliminated. And the only advantage people can get is basically the top 4 seeds are going to get a bye round next weekend. So they're going to get, a free pass in the first round, essentially.
Yeah,
anyhow.
So not the highest of stakes, but still, the team's going to be trying to win all the same. However, we might be seeing with that new patch, maybe some testing, maybe some comfortability going on here, trying out some things in the character draft. We are going to be getting into this draft right now. We do see a Yamato ban for Steamhappy and a Lady Geist ban for Shopkeeper, and we were talking about this earlier, Deathy, but that Warden already first picked could be a bit of a menace this patch.
Yeah, I think Warden is going to be incredibly strong. I'm not surprised to see the Geist ban. I mean, I think Geist is probably still really strong, but she did get some extremely significant nerfs. The changes to her 3 as well as her gun damage and everything should make her a lot easier to deal with. But I think that we're still going to see, the patch was yesterday, right? These teams didn't really have a chance to practice much on the new patch probably. Players have played maybe a few games. And so I think we're still going to see largely priority from this, previous patch. Yamato is a bit of a new one. You didn't see her banned that much previously. But now with Spirit being on the up and up, I think that, she's probably going to make a comeback. I mean, she was already strong, but I think her priority is probably going to go up. And Steamhappy responds with the Mirage, which was really high value. Now, Ricochet, Inhibitor, all those items have been nerfed a little bit, which should be, and Mirage now has fall off on his 3. If it's further than 45 meters, he can't apply it at all. So it should be a little bit easier to manage, but, we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. Waiting on that next pick. The Yamato ban maybe strikes me. I mean, Mo and Krill actually is going to be the next pick. You're getting that early pick with that Mirage. Mo and Krill wanting that gank, that roam, that a little bit of that map presence for steamhappy early on.
Yeah.
And Shiv going to be the answer with the pocket as well. That double spirit pressure right away. Kind of pretty big, heavy hitters already for Shopkeepers on the first 3 picks.
Yeah. I'm a little bit surprised to see the Mo and Krill second pick for steamhappy. I'm not a big fan of it. Basically, I don't think the hero's terrible, but I think the hero's not that strong of a laner. And I think on the side of Shopkeepers, they've picked all very strong laners. And they've set themselves up also with an anti-heal right away, right? They have Shiv and Pocket. Both are good against tanky heroes. Shiv with his execute, Pocket with the anti-heal. And then you're playing against Mo and Krill Kelvin. I feel like Shopkeepers is really happy with this opening. And we've got the McGinnis ban, which I guess McGinnis is probably still pretty strong with the gun. Maybe it's like a ban specifically for Shopkeepers. I don't think it's a ban we see too often, so pretty interesting.
I did see, I played a little bit yesterday, getting a little bit caught back up on some of the newer stuff, and for some reason there was a McGinnis in every single game I played, and they ran Spirit every time. Kind of gave me throwback to like last year, like September, October-ish, when all the McGinnises ran that ult build that just destroyed everybody for a good month or 2 of play.
Yeah.
Definitely gave me a little bit of nightmares, but it was on my team, so I was happy about that. And it is going to be a Wraith ban here, actually, for Shopkeepers. And Deathy, question for you here. Do you think Card Wraith is back after these new patch notes?
No. I think Card Wraith is probably pretty bad, but we'll see. I mean, the reality is at this level anything can work. This is not the pro scene, right? A lot of it comes down to comfort, execution of the strategies. So like we could see Card Wraith do really well, and I wouldn't be that surprised, but I don't think objectively it's that strong. Like there's just other heroes that are going to do what Card Wraith does better if you want spirit damage, right? And she's still quite squishy. Infernus still being picked, right? So the side of steamhappy still going for those traditional carries in the Mirage, the Infernus. Those were heroes that were insanely strong in last patch. I mean, last patch was Infernus first pick every game, pretty much. So now he's been relegated to 4th pick, it seems.
4th pick, better than 6th pick. Still getting picked up here anyway by steamhappy. Seems like they're going more for kind of a traditional front to back. Saw this a lot last patch. Kind of a lot more of that M1 damage with the Mirage, with the Infernus. You have the Mo and Krill and the Kelvin for that peel. We'll see what they round out their comp with later. Shopkeepers are looking scary, in my opinion, with that dive composition. Warden with that ultimate coming in, Pocket, Shiv. I mean, pretty much can just take out anybody if they are a little bit too out of position in the beginning of these fights. And we are going to be seeing more of that with the Calico as well here, Deathy. Anything specific, I mean, jetting out here, are they missing anything in their comp, or do you think it's going to be hard for steamhappy to deal with this?
I mean, so far, I think that they've got a pretty good start. Calico, obviously, her ultimate did get nerfed pretty significantly as far as cooldown goes. So for those of you that aren't familiar with the patch notes, I mean, basically some cooldowns got nerfed more than others, even though they said 10% cooldown nerf to all the ultimates. Some ultimates got affected more than others. So I believe Calico's cooldown got actually more like a 20% nerf overall. So it's pretty significant. I think it went from 70 seconds to 85 seconds when you have all the AP upgrades. And so, the only thing I'm afraid with Shopkeepers is that maybe they're investing a little bit too much into Spirit. I do like the Viscous, because one thing that they were lacking a little bit was some CC in these fights, right? So now with the Viscous, you've got that kind of team fight, and Viscous is also a really great pick into Kelvin generally, because if you ever get ball in the dome essentially becomes a death trap for the Kelvin and anyone inside.
Viscous, probably one of the better support characters you're going to be picking up for this type of comp that Shopkeepers is running. Pretty much all of them, honestly, can be diving in here. Is a very, very volatile comp. I'm actually really excited to see how they execute it, or if steamhappy are able to kind of keep them at bay, successfully protect their carries here, and keep this game probably a little bit slower for them. I'm assuming they're going to want to keep things at their pace, and the Paradox kind of be reinforcing that a little bit. I'm not really sure if I would hate to play Paradox here, but I could be wrong. Maybe it is a little bit easy. It seems like it's going to be hard.
I mean, I would have loved to see steamhappy pick Vindicta here. I think it would have been a really great answer to a lot of the composition of Shopkeepers. They don't really have any great way to deal with any aerial, like, flyer type character. So I think going like a Vindicta and a Lash would have been like a pretty decent option. I don't really like the Abrams because they've already got good frontline with the Mo and Krill. And on top of that, you're really playing, I feel like they're playing into Shopkeeper's hands, with Shopkeeper is like really happy with how this draft played out. And they got the 7 last pick, and 7 is like a fantastic last pick for them for a few reasons. One, his ultimate is going to be really hard to deal with for the side of steamhappy. They do have the Mo and Krill who can maybe cancel it, but once he gets unstoppable, it's going to be tough. And two, 7 has Spirit resist Shred on his 3, and so he's going to be able to amp a lot of Shopkeeper's damage, which is a lot of Spirit, right? So I think you're really happy with how this draft turned out if you're Shopkeepers.
Yeah, Shopkeeper's very scary draft. Steamhappy, though, does have a couple answers to it. It's definitely not unplayable for them here.
Yeah.
So draft is going to be done. We will be getting into games shortly once the players are readied up. But just another look at this draft. I mean, maybe one thing that's sticking out to me here is I feel like the key that's going to help out here is probably the Abrams and maybe the Kelvin too. I feel like if they play well and they can keep that Infernus and the Mirage safe, they can definitely have a shot at this Deathy.
Definitely. I think on the side of steamhappy, it's really going to be about how well they're able to execute this kind of like death ball that they have, right? In fights, like they have a lot of just like tanky heroes that like to play close quarters, and they have also a fair amount of disable, right? Between the Infernus ult, the Paradox swap, Abrams charge, Abrams ult, Mo and Krill ult, you've got a lot of disable, and these Kelvin domes are going to be crucial at being able to keep the team alive. So I think if they can, you know, the danger, they have to be able to kind of not get hit by big afflictions, and they have to be able to play together, get domes that are significant enough to turn the tides of these fights, and more importantly, they really need Infernus and Mirage to get really far in this game.
Gonna need a good snowball for the carries of steamhappy. They might be able to kill 1 or 2 with that Mo and Krill ult, that Abrams charge, maybe that Paradox swap, but can they kill 3, 4? They do have a Warden, a Shiv, a Pocket, a 7 to deal with.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going to be coming down the pipe there, I guess, in these fights. But I think if they can get a good early game, maybe a snowball into that mid-game, steamhappy are going to be looking pretty good here. Just a little bit more time until this game is beginning.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, just waiting for the names here.
Yeah,
any players you know is going to be playing certain characters, I guess, might be a good thing to talk about here.
I don't actually, so I'm not coaching either of these teams. I think one thing that we could talk about is who is coaching these teams, right? So one thing to explain for everybody is like basically every team has a coach, right? And every team gets 2 coaching sessions. So let me just tell you real quick who is coaching these teams. So on the side of Shopkeepers, we have, let me see. Shopkeepers would be... so Shopkeepers is team... I'm trying to figure it out. So I believe Shopkeepers is Pure Content coaching them, if I'm not making any mistakes. And on the side of steamhappy, I believe that is Poshipop coaching them. Yeah. So we've got Poshipop coaching steamhappy versus the Pure Content coaching and Shopkeepers. You know, I'm not sure how much Poshipop, you know, touched on the draft with steamhappy, because I feel like they made some mistakes, but I mean, very solid draft from the side of Shopkeepers. I'm very impressed. So perhaps Pure Content infused some knowledge into them with this draft.
Yeah, I do recognize both those players. I might be only getting back into the game a bit, but when you said those 2 names, I definitely know that these 2 teams are in pretty good hands overall. But
I mean, all our coaches are fantastic. Like we were very lucky in the sense everybody working on this event is great, and all the coaches, you know, voluntarily helping these teams. You know, these are all like top players in North America that have like great resumes that have done coaching. So, you know, it's really cool to be able to kind of help out these teams and give them some direction. And I think that's part of what makes this event so special is the fact that, hey, you know, these more average players are getting help from top players, and how much can they improve during that short period of time?
That's how you keep a game alive too. So that's one reason why I wanted to even be here in the first place. You know, support the Death Slam and everybody here. I mean, hey, show some love, show some support for Deathy and all the staff involved in this as well, because this is really kind of one of the kind of interesting ideas that's going to keep this game going while Valve kind of takes its time with the development of it. Keep these lower to mid-tier kind of players, bring them up to speed, get more teams in that top level, so it's not just 2 to 4 teams kind of running everything, and we're going to get a kind of bigger fan base. That's how I feel it in my book. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, the you know, the tier 2 scene, like the amateur scene, is crucial to the health of the overall game. It is in every game. You know, it doesn't matter what esports, what anything. So I do believe that, you know, this event helps. But, you know, since we're waiting a while, might as well talk about other things. What did you do for 4th of July?
Oh, lots of fireworks. I'm actually not a big fan of fireworks, believe it or not. I am American, but I'm not the biggest fan of fireworks. A little bit of ADHD there. Not really liking the big booms, but not too bad. Gotta spend some time with the girlfriend, spend some time with the family. Watch some fireworks. Got some good Mexican food. I don't know why we chose to get Mexican food on 4th of July, but I was there for it. Some pretty fire tacos. Yeah, I mean, you. Hey, babe, did you celebrate the 4th of July, Deathy?
No, not really. I mean, I was just fixing my computer. I mean, that was my 4th of July activity. I tried to go live yesterday, wasn't working. I was having horrible lag. It was a disaster. And I just upgraded. Like, I have a 5070 now, and like all these parts, and it was just like it was just terrible. And then I had to reinstall everything. So I like reinstalled Windows. I did a bunch of shit, and now it's working. But
there you go.
Yeah, it was tough. So no celebration for me. But we're here, and it's fixed. So I'm happy to be able to get everything fixed in time to cast this. And yeah, we're gonna be getting into the game right now.
Looks like we're getting into this game here. Lane's already coming in on the side of both teams here. It's going to be Shopkeepers on Amber and Steamhappy on Sapphire side. And you can see the players. Everything should be updated correctly, all on that top overlay, just to see if you want to run or see who's running what character.
Yep. So I think, yeah, we're going to give it a couple of seconds to basically just make sure that we update the names at the top to make sure that it's correct. So I'm not going to go over the players yet. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But just
it
going...
should be updated.
Oh, okay, it should be updated. Okay, perfect. So I guess we'll go on the side of Steamhappy. We've got Canned Bread on the Mirage. We've got Slackjaw on the Infernus. Ollie Impossible on the Abrams. Icy Who on the Kelvin. Slitherus on the Paradox. And the World Top on the Moen Krill.
And then for the side of Shopkeepers, we do have Stardust on the Pocket. Pyroham is going to be on the Viscous here. Joey Lemons on the Warden. Turvy, I believe, is on the 7. Solum on the Shiv, and Alendali on the Calico here. And we're already seeing lanes starting to get a little bit more dynamic. The middle lane looking a little bit more even, whereas the side lane's kind of pushing in either direction.
Yeah, I actually made a slight mistake earlier. This team is actually, the Shopkeepers is actually Ranger is coaching them. Because Ranger asked for this team specifically, so it's not pure content, so hey, my bad. But talking about the lane matchups here, so we've got Infernus Mirage, sorry, not Infernus Mirage, Infernus Kelvin versus Pocket Warden, and then on this side we've got the Mirage Paradox versus 7 Viscous, and a ton of pressure happening on this lane. The Viscous and the 7 already taking a ton of damage, and I guess this is a slightly weaker lane, especially with, 7's head being extremely big, but if Steamhappy manages to get like an early lead in these lanes, maybe their draft will work out after all.
Yeah, that Paradox Mirage, probably one of the more oppressive lanes that I could at least remember in recent time. Got a lot of early damage here going up against the Viscous and the 7. However, it is a Viscous, there is definitely a bit of counterplay. You do have the cube, you do have a lot of ways to survive early on, so I'm not too worried about them overall. Another thing to note possibly here that I'm going to be looking at for sure is that middle lane. It is going to be the Moen Krill and the Abrams. The Shiv and the Calico should have the pressure.
Is like,
yeah,
I can't think of a worse lane. Like, it's tough, man. I mean, Moen Krill Abrams, maybe they managed to make some miracles. We've got the charge onto the Calico. Calico actually taking a lot of damage. Shiv looking to trade some. Overall, a positive trade for the Moen Krill Abrams. Who's looking to prove me wrong.
I mean, one thing I was going to know here is we got to remember this is Oracle Phantom, right? It's not necessarily the tippity top of the player base.
Yeah. Still
pretty good players, but I feel like at this level, a lot of mistakes can happen. And when there's an Abrams in the game, one bad charge, one good little Moen Krill, I guess, burrow, and especially when the ults come in here too, Calico can disappear.
That's very true. And the other also, like, I guess you could say that these are tanky heroes, and generally what Calico wants to do is kind of like one-shot someone, right? So it's a little bit harder when you're playing against the Abrams, the Moen Krill. So not the best matchup for Calico, but still overall, I would say a fairly weak lane for the side of Steamhappy. So we go back on this 7's POV, and, he is struggling. He's got Restorative Shot, so Restorative Shot received a slight buff, so, well, actually pretty significant. It went from 40 HP on healing to 50 now when you hit a hero, and also from 15 to 20, so good item now, and we've got a little bit of action in the mid lane, but nothing will come of it.
Yeah, just one little Abrams charge going in, chucked in the Calico yet again, but nothing crazy going in here. Just a bit of trading on the farm, about only 100 gold ahead for steamhappy in that middle lane here. However, go back over to that right side. We do see that Viscous and the 7 down a good little chunk there. The 7 managed to get a good little box run, come back, and kind of kept up in farm here. The Viscous, however, definitely a little bit behind, but it shouldn't matter too much this early in the game.
Yeah, the only thing you have to be worried about is the ultimate timings, right? So I'd be like keeping an eye on the Paradox essentially in the next minute or so, because she's about to get ult, and they're being very aggressive before the ult timings, right? But once Paradox gets swapped, Viscous Cube was just used, right? So this lane could really flip. After this wave here, Paradox is going to have swap. There will be no Viscous Cube available for the rescue here. So we'll see if she's able to get maybe a quick swap going and they're able to pressure. Because this is like a very small timing that they have, and it looks like they know about this timing. Swaps on the Viscous. Viscous 1 HP, trying to live. Unfortunately gets taken down. 7 going in as well. Looking to get the trade kill. Goes down as well.
And a great try from Turv there on the 7 to try to get that trade kill at the very least, but it turned out to be the wrong choice as he goes down as well, and we see action in the mid lane as well. Abrams charge going down here, taking ship incredibly low. Elendily on the Calico going down, and it looks like steamhappy are just all happy right now, getting those 2 kills in either of those lanes.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I thought we were going to be in this situation, but Joey Lemons here looking to strike back. But unfortunately, Kelvin just domes the tower, and, well, very good defense play there by Icyhu on the Kelvin. And they're still doing a lot of damage to this tower, though it might still go down. Do they have enough? It looks like Warden is going to be forced to back up, and they won't quite be able to get this tower, but good pressure coming out of Shopkeepers there.
Yeah, Shopkeeper's trying to strike back, not quite able to get the tower. However, they still are setting themselves up for success later on in the game. Warden going off to buy, find a little reset, but on the right side here, we are going to be seeing a 7 stun. It looks like Shopkeeper's striking back on the right side as well, too. Here, Mirage needs to be careful. The 7's coming in, looking for this kill, and he actually is not quite able to find it. A good Paradox swap is going to peel him away for now. 7 now being forced to run away, and it looks like Shopkeepers are left pretty much without anything.
Yeah, I mean, I will say one thing about steamhappy is they might have the synergy, right? Because they have matching profile pictures. Now, that's a little scary to go against, right? On Discord and on Steam, they've got the little steamhappy, steam sad. So maybe they just managed to make this work through sheer synergy in the laning stage, as we're seeing them dominate most lanes at the moment.
That's kind of what their comp is telling me too here, Deathy, is synergy, right? That's what it's screaming to me. If they can perform all of their ultimates correctly, get a good execution, I feel like they can definitely have the advantage, and they are setting themselves up for a good later game as well, being up 5k, about 4.5k already in this early game. Nothing too crazy. However, some action over again on the right side of the lane here. steamhappy striking back yet again and getting a double kill here against Shopkeepers, and they're going to be pressured here to go up against this tower as well. They might even grab it.
Yeah, another kill going the way, and that, you know, like I said for steamhappy, what's the criteria for them to win? You want this Mirage and this Infernus to get fed, and right now it looks like the Mirage certainly is getting fed, being the richest player in the lobby. Now, something I wanted to mention as well is, we saw, I don't know if you guys noticed the Moon Krills build when we were watching him, but he had Suppressor, Quicksilver Reel, and Mystic Burst. He was full purple, Mo sitting on full health. So that was kind of funny to see, and you know, excited to see how that performs in the game. Suppressor on Moat is a little strange because it's not that easy to apply, but I guess if you get Torment Pulse, you get on top of people, maybe.
Hey, looks like he's got a plan, but he also needs to escape right now as he's getting punched out in this middle lane here. 3v2. Shopkeepers are trying to strike back. They're trying to get a kill here, and they manage to get the Abrams, who comes in to peel away the Mo and Krill, and the Mo does get out, but the Abrams, Ollie Impossible, going to be losing his life.
Yeah, I mean, some things never change, right? And NA remains the burger boxing region kings, as we see in the mid lane. You know, a lot of burger boxing. Calico going really, really low on the side of Elendily, but will manage to escape. And one thing that I've seen from coaching these teams, right, is that there's definitely a phenomenon of like ARAM mid that is present sometimes, where people just stack mid for no reason. So we'll see if that happens this game as well, as Mirage gets the tower and we'll back up.
Yeah, speaking of stacking mid, we're seeing it right now. Actually, Abrams diving in on steamhappy. Looks like Shopkeepers actually losing their Shiv here. The Abrams charge must have taken him incredibly low, and now they're going to be getting that mid lane tower as well. That's 2 Guardians gone already for Shopkeepers, who are starting to get a little bit in trouble here. The lead is starting to snowball in the favor of steamhappy.
Yeah. It's starting to get not ideal. It's still obviously salvageable. It's only a 6k lead, so you can definitely come back from this. But, you know, your work's cut out for you, right? If you're the side of Shopkeepers, you have to get something going, because if you don't get anything going, things can get snowball out of control pretty rapidly. Now, one thing I want to mention is that there are some lane changes that are making the situation a little bit better from the side of Shopkeepers. Namely, Guardians don't give as many souls as they used to. Right, so they give a little bit less souls, so the fact that they're down Guardians is not as bad as it would have been in the previous patch. It's slightly better, not a huge difference, obviously, as we're going to see the lead, you know, kind of accelerate as we're going to be moving towards the first buffs and urn in 20 seconds.
Yeah, 20 seconds, we're going to be seeing a little bit of action, and action we're actually already seeing right now as Joey Lemons on the Warden goes down in the mid lane, and they're still trying to push the lead even further. Abrams, Ali Impossible trying to get another kill in here. Perry going to be going wide here, but a great punch onto the Calico, and now Abrams is in trouble. He needs to escape. Shopkeeper's trying to get an answer, but they just can't find the kill onto the Abrams, who's just avoiding, dodging, dipping, ducking, going everywhere. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, and he does actually go down. A great kill for Shopkeepers. I believe Viscous was the one who got that, and now it's going to be Shopkeepers going down again on the right side of the lane. This 7 is just having such a rough time.
Yeah. I mean, this Paradox Mirage lane has just been dominating here, as Mo and Krill's getting dove mid is going to be going down, so a nice counter kill as the side of Shopkeepers should be able to get this mid tower and get something going in their favor, and hopefully gain a little bit of momentum from this, as the situation is still not so bad. And considering that I think their draft is going to do, you know, really well into the like mid to late game, I think if they can manage to just, you know, not let steamhappy run away with the game, they should be fine in these team fights once we get to the 15-20 minute mark.
Hey, we did just see it, right? They grouped up 3 to 4 man. They managed, you know, they lost 1 man. However, they did get the trade kill back, and they ended up getting the pressure in order for them to get that Guardian as well here. But steamhappy do have all the Guardians in the game. They do have that flex slot. Not going to matter too much right away, but it will be helpful for later on. The urn going to be carried over here by Stardust on Shopkeepers, and this is going to be a big make or break for this early game, I think, for Shopkeepers, and they can get a good urn turn and find a good fight on this right-hand side here. I think they are going to be kind of prepared to get a good mid-game now. It's looking like steamhappy looking to keep a pretty active defense here. 7-0 coming in here onto Shopkeepers. The swap onto the 7 going to be putting him in a little bit of a dangerous position. However, that doesn't really do too much as the 7 does go down, and now it's going to be steamhappy that have the urn, they have the control, and they are going to be taking this fight, but not if Joey Lemons has anything to say about it. The Warden coming in, finding a lot of damage. A great Kelvin on the side of steamhappy, going to be resetting everything for now. A combo coming in onto the Warden, but it is going to be World 2 going down, but at the same time, Shopkeepers losing yet another man. The Calico going down as well, and I believe steamhappy does dunk the urn, and they do win the fight, and now they're trying to push and get even more.
Yeah, so Shopkeepers actually got the urn in that fight. It wasn't steamhappy.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, they actually managed to get it, so they forced the 7 went to ult right away and made the space for the Warden to be able to dunk the urn. And so Shopkeepers is actually quite happy with how that turned out. So they managed to close the lead a little bit. Now it's only a 3k lead, and realistically a 3k lead isn't really much at this stage of the game, right? It's not really significant anymore. So the game is about even now, whereas it was looking a little dire out of the lane. So Shopkeepers managed to stabilize, get that urn, and I believe that their comp, you know, is really good at these kind of urn objectives, because you can go with the 7 ult, the Warden ult, create space, and kind of go to dunk that urn. So they use their composition well.
Finding the space to get that urn turn in. Only a 3k lead now for steamhappy, which is basically nothing now, about 2,500. So just one little item for one person, so nothing crazy here. 7 going to be in charge of this right-hand lane, trying to soak up as many souls as possible. But it looks like pretty even a soul spread around here for Shopkeepers overall, whereas on steamhappy you do have the Mirage slightly ahead of everybody else, but about 10, 11k as well. So pretty even across the board here, Deathy. No big kind of swings in souls just quite yet. And I do expect we're probably going to be getting a little bit of lull time for the next 2.5, or rather 1.5 minutes until this next urn. Any items or any interesting things you're expecting here out of some of these players?
Well, generally, as far as like when the game state is in this kind of state, I do think that it does favor steamhappy a little bit. One small problem with Shopkeepers, they don't have like a great way to force things, right? Whereas the side of steamhappy, you know, they've got Paradox, they've got Mo and Krill, they've got these heroes that can kind of create these engagements. For Shopkeepers, it's a little bit harder to kind of create these engagements. As I say that, we've got a pretty big engage on the right side as Abrams I guess ults the floor. That's okay. He wasn't a big fan of that patch of ground. He was like, don't want to get that. He probably just used it to escape, really. That's probably, we just didn't see that part. But yeah, a lot of engagements happening. As far as interesting items, I think for the side of steamhappy, I think you're still looking at similar timings previously, so they really need kind of like their 1 or 2 ricochets on the Infernus Mirage. And for Shopkeepers, it looks like the 7 went Fortitude, which is a little odd. I would personally like to see the 7 build into Old 7, and I would have liked to see him build some debuffs and perhaps go unstoppable. I'm curious to see... So the Kelvin has Warpstone. I'm curious to see the Warden, whether we're having a Spirit Warden or a Gun Warden. So I guess we'll see about that. But Paradox also has Express Shot, even though it doesn't work with Carbine anymore. That got fixed. Now it does the appropriate damage, which is 75%, whereas previously it did 150. And it looks like this is like a hybrid Warden, but focused more around ult, as buffs just spawn.
Yeah. Looks like maybe the 7 not going ult 7, but I guess the ult's still going to do a good amount anyway. We'll have to see how the build turns out later on. Fortitude kind of an in-between item, so can't make too many decisions on that. Yeah, Urn is going to be spawning here. Looks like Shopkeepers, the Warden, Joey Lemons, going to be taking that Urn right on spawn. And now it's up to steamhappy to set up yet another defense. Let's see if they can do it again. They did win the fight last time, but as we're coming here, they're actually getting an early engagement onto the Shiv of Shopkeepers onto the left-hand side. And steamhappy getting an early pick means that they're going to be able to set up a lot easier of a defense this time around.
Yeah. steamhappy in general just have the momentum on the map at the moment. They got a pick, but look at all their lanes as well, right? All the lanes are pushed on the opposite side, and so it's going to be hard to just go and dunk this urn. And it looks like the side of Shopkeepers are just going to drop the urn and let it reset for a little bit. Probably the right play at the moment, right? I don't think they can really do much, and they're falling behind in farm while all of this is happening because steamhappy has control of the entire map, right? And we can see the lead. All of a sudden, it was an even game, and now there's a 7k lead. So steamhappy just being a lot more efficient currently.
A lot more efficient on the map. A lot of the camps still up on the side of steamhappy, which tells me that they are kind of invading in, maybe trying to take some of these camps, challenge some of this farm over on the amber side of the map here. Urn is still in play for a good while longer, so there could still be an Urn fight in our future here, Deathy, as mid lane getting a little bit claustrophobic here. A lot of players kind of hovering around this lane, trying to keep things shoved for both sides here. One thing I want to point out is steamhappy does have Canbred on the Mirage, kind of positioned in that far lane, keeping it nice and shoved in with that ult available. So we'll always be ready for a fight. Pyroham now has the Urn. Passing mid lane right about now. Looks like they might set up something here. I'm not sure exactly if they have the numbers for it, as the Calico is running around looking possibly for a pick here, and actually going to be running right past the Mirage just to catch this wave.
Yeah, I mean, steamhappy are doing such a fantastic job here of keeping pressure on every lane. Like, look at all the lanes, right? Even if they go for this Urn, just look at the state of the lanes. Mirage can TP. Calico's not going to be there. Looks like Warden's just going to ult on top of it, as well as the 7 ult to create space. Visca's going to walk forward here, looking to dunk the Urn. I think it's going to be uncontested as the side of steamhappy. They don't want to deal with those ults, and they're just going to back up. And this is good for Shopkeepers so long as they don't lose people afterwards, right? steamhappy has an opening here. Shopkeepers just used a lot of their ultimates. They used 2 of their biggest teamfight ults, so any fight in the next, minute or so is going to be probably steamhappy favored, so they need to be careful.
Yeah, needs to be careful, but a great play to turn in the Urn all the same, making the lead basically nothing, about 1k for steamhappy here. But Shopkeeper is definitely better than the 7 or 8k that it was earlier, so gonna feel pretty comfortable. Their comp definitely scales very, very well, as we're going to be seeing a fight here actually over towards the middle lane here. Warden getting dove in on by the entire team almost of steamhappy. Kelvin domed in, and now they will get this kill on the Joey Lemons, and they're going to be getting here a 4-man pocket ult from Shopkeepers. Is going to stall steamhappy for now and make them retreat for just a little bit longer, Deathy, but the pick still comes in through here, and they might actually pick up the Abrams as well, as the 7th Son going to be hitting him down here onto the top of the building, and it looks like a great parry onto the Calico, actually going to buy him enough time to keep some of these punches in for now. The rescue beam from Pyroham going to be keeping the Calico alive, and it looks like steamhappy get out with just 1 kill.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you're the side of Shopkeepers, that's really not so bad. Like I said, any engage for the next minute or so is going to be favoring steamhappy, considering that they expended a lot of things for the Urn on the side of Shopkeepers. And so you're not, you're not too upset about what just happened. You lost one, but overall, like, you didn't actually really fall behind or anything, as we've got to swap onto the Viscas here. Viscas half health, no cube. Pocket looking to help his friend, but Viscous actually puddle punches out of there and manages to escape to safety. Great play by him. Abrams getting gone on a little bit, but looks like we're just going to reset. And this is kind of that ARAM element that I was telling you about earlier, where some of these teams, sometimes they just fight mid. And is there any reason for this fight? Not really, but we're brawling and we love it. Pocket going in with the barrage onto the Abrams. Abrams falling really low. Mirage also taking a lot of damage on the sidelines. Looks like he's living on 1 HP. Finally goes down to Joey Lemons as the side of Shopkeepers. They get 1 kill, and Abrams might be caught as well here as Paradox escapes and goes to the side lane, but the fight is still continuing. Ollie Impossible takes the jump at, trying to do the impossible, trying to escape, gets caught last second, and that'll be 2 kills going to the side of Shopkeepers.
2 kills on the side of Shopkeepers here, and maybe 3 possibly if Slitherus isn't careful, and they are going to go down here. The kill on to the 7 is going to be very, very good for Shopkeepers, and they get 3 for 0 here. steamhappy kind of just fell apart there. They tried to go for a pick. They were not able to get the kill on the Viscous. A great puddle punch play like we talked about earlier, and managing to get out of that situation. And then forcing the Mirage kept the lanes pushed for Shopkeepers as well early on in that game, and now they're able to pressure this Walker because of it, as well as the 3 picks going to be helping them with that as well. Kelvin Dome coming down for steamhappy, trying to reset everyone, trying to get everyone they can back to a bit healthier HP levels, but it looks like the Walker is going to be going down regardless, and Shopkeepers now kind of escaping the fight with everything they wanted.
Yeah, and I mean, the game has completely flipped, right? The storyline so far has been, hey, steamhappy's on the lead. You know, we thought that Shopkeepers had a better draft, but steamhappy was kind of like, they had the momentum, they had everything going into it. But Shopkeepers now, they've kind of flipped the script, and now they've got a slight lead. They've got the flex slot advantage with the fact that they got the first Walker, and steamhappy's the ones that picked up the urn, and your Mirage picked up the urn. And this is usually really not what you want, right? Mirage is probably going to give the urn to somebody else, because usually you want to have Mirage creating some pressure somewhere on the map, not being the one to run the urn. So he's going to drop it. He's probably going to go back to the side lane, right? Paradox is going to pick it up, and I don't really... I fear a little bit for steamhappy, because the side of Shopkeepers, they have all their big ultimates. They've got the 7 ult, they've got the Warden ult, but it looks like there's so much pressure from steamhappy that Paradox might be able to just walk in and dunk the urn as she just gets it. Yeah.
Yeah, Shopkeepers kind of got caught sitting there for a little bit. We're probably playing a little bit too slow, even though they did have those ultimates you were talking about, but still not going to be the end of the world. steamhappy going to be happy about that one here, evening up the gold from about 6k to about 1. So back to the ear, Deathy, but you got to think Shopkeepers still maybe in a little advantage. All the fights so far have pretty much gone their way, at least the bigger ones in that mid lane. Now we have about 3 minutes till the next urn and buff, so it really is just going to be scaling for the carries on either of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, a lot of it's going to come down to fight execution, which fights you take, right? And how you're playing around the map. Here mid, Abrams is just kind of looking on this pocket. The cloak gets stuck a little bit. Yoshi, I thought we fixed that, but unfortunately, the cloak is still getting stuck on the bridge. Probably just, you know, not favorable enough of an angle, although the cloak did receive a bunch of fixes there. And yeah, we're going to be in mostly a neutral state. We've got Warden and Shift pressuring the Mo here. The Mo uses ult. Mirage TP's on top of it, so a bit of an engage. Maybe a bit of an overextension by the side of Shopkeepers as Mirage looks to chase down the Warden here. Kelvin domes the Warden. Catches him, I think. Buys a little bit of time, but do they have the necessary catch or damage to kill this guy? Mo's going to try chasing after him. Warden's pretty fast. Abrams going in with the charge as Joey Lemons goes down, but Slitherus also going down in the mid lane, and Infernus split pushing a Walker, so a lot of things happening right now.
Yeah, a lot of things happening. Great defense from steamhappy. Are able to get catches out here on to Slitherus on the Paradox, and allowing the Infernus to push that side lane, get this entire Walker on his own. So great play from steamhappy, and now opening up the other side Walker as well, but at the cost of their own mid lane Walker that will be going down. Ollie Impossible should not be enough to do the impossible and kill 4 members on his own, so he will be retreating here, losing that Walker. But it is going to be a 2-for-2 Walker trade, and steamhappy are starting to squeeze the lead a little bit more, but it's still about even.
Yeah, I mean, this game is about as back and forth as you can get, right? I'm really glad that we picked this game to be our first one because, yeah, you know, 130k to 130k, 23 minutes in. The objectives are even, 2 walkers apiece. I mean, really, this could go either way. And now we're going to start seeing the timings coming out of the side of steamhappy. So we've got the Ricochet on the Mirage. I'm expecting we'll see a Ricochet on Infernus eventually as well, as we just see it now. Refresher on Kelvin. So this is a huge timing for steamhappy, right? And so taking a fight right now could be pretty good for them.
Yeah, steamhappy getting all their item spikes. And one more thing we didn't talk about too, not only is it a close game, but no pauses. I mean, come on. This is what else can we ask for here, Deathy? In this game, all these players are locked in. As we can see, almost 25 minutes earn are going to be spawning in about 30 seconds here. And with these timers on these item spikes for steamhappy, I'm expecting them to try to push this lead and maybe try to grab this earn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm curious to see. So one thing that I personally taught some of the teams that I was coaching is, hey, when buffs and earn come, usually you want to look for some sort of 4-2 split, right? You don't want to leave the entire map open, but you want to usually stack one side. So we'll see which side the teams look to stack. Considering it's even, I think they're both happy to fight, and they're both happy to stack the earn side. So Warden already getting wave priority as Abrams and Paradox, though, they're on top of the buff. They're positioned, but looks like Pocket's just gonna open. Pocket messes up the movement a little bit. Okay, finally
he
gets the buff. You know, we get it at the end of the day. Kelvin gets the survival buff. And I think it's just gonna be Warden's just gonna pick up the earn, and we're gonna see a reset here. No fight imminently, but there probably will be a fight on earn turn-in.
Yeah, it looks like they kind of cared a bit more about that left side buff and about making sure that lane stays pushed. But a great engage on to Pyroham here. The Viscous going down early would be really, really bad here, as it looks like he will be going down. The cube comes in, but the Ice Dome should be enough to keep him contained for now. We should be seeing him kind of go down any second here, but it looks like he does go into that ball, and he is forcing out the combo. He's stalling for so long, which allows Joey Lemons on the Warden to come in through with the ultimate and do so much damage to the entire steamhappy. Moncrow going down, Kelvin going down, Abrams looking like he is up next. A great parry on Shopkeepers is going to secure that kill, so the heroics from Pyroham allowing the Shopkeepers to regroup manages them to come back and get 4 kills here, Death.
Yeah, and we're seeing kind of the draft difference, in my opinion, there. Just Viscous manages to stall for so long, and then you see the Shiv execute, and I really hope that Shopkeepers are going to go mid here. I think that they do recognize it's an opportunity. Calco starts it. They're going to get mid and the earn here, and this is really the opportunity for Shopkeepers to take a significant lead this match. steamhappy are going to have to be playing defense for the next couple of minutes. I don't think there's any world in which they can contest this mid-boss, so it should just be free and go to Shopkeepers. So for the next mid-boss, did get nerfed slightly, the first one. Only lasts 3 minutes instead of 4, and the minions aren't as tanky, but it's still very dangerous. And now Shopkeepers are going to be armed with a 15k lead, as well as the Rejuvenator.
3 minutes should still be more than enough time for Shopkeepers to push this lead even further here. 14k soul lead now, and with the Rejuve in the hands of Shopkeepers, it looks like they're regrouping here, taking their time, keeping these lanes pushed, and they should be making a play for this left side walker any moment now. If we take a little look at the scores here, the KDAs, it looks like the Mirage on steamhappy feeling good, getting a pretty good soul lead here. The Infernus also 31k. Exactly what you were saying earlier. The Infernus and the Mirage both ahead for steamhappy, but it just looks like they can't get them both in the fights together. It seems like the fights that they've won so far, they've had a good combo with the Infernus or the Mirage there, but these last fights, they just were not coordinated enough. So a good Kelvin Dome going to be denying Shopkeepers for just a little bit longer, allowing a big 6v6 to start unfolding here. It looks like steamhappy is going to be challenging this fight just a little bit, but no, it's actually just going to be Infernus running away, trying to clear the wave, and now it's going to be Abrams stuck in the back line. Should be going down here if the Calco can catch up, but no, actually both members of steamhappy managing to get out alive here, losing their walker all the same, but Mirage on the opposite side going to be pushing the base Guardians, forcing the 7 on Shopkeepers to go on back. And now Base Guardians on both sides going to be pressured here. Canbread on the Mirage, actually going to be going back now, though, as the Base Guardians for steamhappy are falling, and it looks like the Shrines should be up next very shortly.
Yeah, I mean, I think Shopkeepers, you know, they're kind of lucky that they all, sorry, not Shopkeepers, steamhappy are kind of lucky that they survived with all their members there. You got to be really careful here. They just have to manage to stall, right? If they manage to stall, they still have maybe the tools to win fights. With the double Ricochet, they basically just need to, their win conditions are essentially kiting, right? As we got the swap onto the Pocket here, I'm assuming that he has Silence Wall already. Pocket going down really low, but manages to escape for now, it looks like, as Mirage just keeps putting in the damage, but it's not going to be enough, and steamhappy are going to go back in their base, and as they don't want to feed here, and they got to be really, really careful, because at the end of the day, right now, if they lose 1 or 2 people, that could be game for them.
Could be game, and people they're keeping, but base guardians, they are not. Both the left and the middle base guardians have fallen, leaving only the right side. A combo coming in for steamhappy, trying to get an early pick onto the warden, and they're not able to find it as the cube comes in and saves his life. The Infernus now having to back up, and actually is going to be the Mo and Krill going down for steamhappy. They do manage to get the warden in the end. However, the respawns are a lot lower for shopkeepers than it is steamhappy. That 1-for-1 trade is going to be very good for shopkeepers as they get both of the shrines, and they will be downing this patron, and most likely regrouping after that. A dome gonna be stalling for a little while longer, and a great paradox swap might get them another kill here. Infernus going in here, they're going for another fight. Steamhappy are not done yet. They're taking this 5v5, they're taking the Viscous, they should be getting the Calico any second now. They do, but the patron does fall, Deathy. They can't defend it in time, and shopkeepers kind of get all they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, these kills are good. The Rejuvenator is over, right? So that 7 is dead for 75 seconds. And if the pocket goes down, he's also dead for 80 seconds. So these kills are extremely crucial for the side of steamhappy. Yes, shopkeepers got them what they wanted, but at the same time, dying here is exceptionally bad because now, not only are you giving up the buffs, but you're also going to be giving up this urn. Like, I don't think there's any world in which shopkeepers can contest the next urn. So all of a sudden, shopkeepers is not going to have any soul lead anymore. And it's all going to come down to the next team fight. If the side of shopkeepers win a team fight, they'll be able to go into the base and win the game. Steamhappy, they probably need to win at least 2 fights because they still have to down the patron. As we've got the warden ult into the mid lane here, looking to chase people. It looks like not really able to catch anyone, and a bit of a wasted warden ult. You don't really want to see that. Now they're going to go for the urn, and it's going to be hard to stop them.
Yeah, it looks like the warden ult not there for the urn means that it's surely in the side of steamhappy's hands here. Kelvin going to be dumping that urn here as a fight starting to break out in the mid laner. Combo being used onto one of the members of Shopkeepers, but it looks like Viscous is alive, so they should be safe for now. 7 and Pocket both still dead, so this is steamhappy's time in order to actually get this mid walker, but a great execute, a great play on Shopkeepers, allowing them to kill the Mirage and get a slight little counter push back, stalling until their 7 and their Pocket are both about up now. And it looks like Shopkeepers gonna have one more fight left in them here, as a great Kelvin Dome gonna be trying to trap up this Calico, but they just don't have enough damage to do anything here. Slitherus going really low, so is the Mo and Krill and the Kelvin both. The 7 looking incredibly low as well, the Calico, so everybody starting to get lower, but it doesn't matter because Shopkeepers just have so much stopping power on their abilities. They're pushing forward, killing the Kelvin, killing the Paradox, and the Abrams stuck in the backline will be going down any moment. There we go. 7 does go down for Shopkeepers, but it's a 4-for-1 trade, and they're going to be getting one more. It's going to be game over, most likely. Shopkeepers taking this game.
Yeah, that's looking to be GG. Shopkeeper is going to be able to take the first game in the Phantom Oracle bracket for this Death Slam North American 2nd edition. GGs go out. You know, honestly, well played from the side of steamhappy. Well played from the side of steamhappy in the sense that they made it further than I thought they would with their draft. I think that these team fights, like, they were not even playing that bad. It's just that the team fights were so hard to execute. You know, the Kelvin Dome wasn't doing enough when you've got, like, this anti-heal and big burst potential. You've got to deal with the Warden ult, the 7 ult, Afflictions. I think it was mostly a draft difference because we saw the game was extremely even for a large portion. So I think the teams, in terms of skills, are very close to each other. Which is also a good sign because we created these teams essentially like kind of from scratch, right? And so I guess we're able to do a decent job with the matchmaking, perhaps even better than Valve.
Hey, really good matchmaking there. I mean, honestly, a really good game from both teams there, like you said, pretty close in skill. We see the score screen going on here. Lots of healing on the Kelvin, but it's not going to matter too much. One thing I definitely did notice, and I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, Deathy, maybe you can extrapolate on this point for me a little bit, is whenever the Kelvin Dome or the combo or any of the CC from steamhappy came out, it didn't feel like they had their carries there actually to do the damage they needed to get the picks. They get the combo, they get the Dome, but the Infernus or the Mirage caught on the outside of it or caught in a different lane, maybe not even quite in the fight. They couldn't get that early pick and therefore just allowed Shopkeepers to kind of regroup, accelerate their lead like we saw in that one fight in that mid lane when the Viscous sold for so long and allowed the entire team from Shopkeepers to collapse. So I'm not sure if really there's any merit to that point or not, but it just seemed like steamhappy didn't have quite the damage to get rid of everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's 100% correct. I really do think that the Mo and Krill pick was a big mistake this game. It's probably a comfort pick, right? That's most likely why they picked it so early. I can't really see another explanation, unless they really believe Mo and Krill is that broken. But, like, if you swap Mo and Krill for Shiv this game, for example, right? Like, if they second pick Shiv, that would give them a lot more damage. That would also prevent the enemy team from getting the execute. Because we saw a few fights, right, where the execute is just like, Shiv executes one, and then a second, and then a third, and it's all these really high HP targets. So since execute is percent health, is getting extra value against these tanky targets. So I think that unfortunately they didn't have enough damage in their draft, and their damage very often was also not present on the side lanes getting farmed. And they had their hit squad of 4 people, but they just had CC and like heal in their hit squad, no damage.
Yeah, not too much damage there for the side of steamhappy, but Shopkeepers, on the other hand, so much damage. Just looking at the score screen, we're going to be seeing, I mean, basically 5 members, 7, just barely not quite reaching that kind of metric there, but over 20k with Pocket going 32k in a 32-minute game, so kind of, you know, averaging 1k a minute there. Pretty good on the side of Shopkeepers here, and seems like they were just kind of able to run over things, right? We mentioned the comps earlier. It seemed like the ease of execution for Shopkeeper's comp really helped them here, and I'm expecting that is actually going to be a big theme throughout this tournament here, with the Oracle Phantom being, you know, not everybody having the best comfort as a team together, maybe not having the best coordination. So these easier comps, these comps that can kind of just run you down, I feel like are going to be more successful.
Yeah, definitely. I think that ease of execution is like a super important factor, because at the end of the day, you can have a comp that on paper can do maybe really well, but if you can't execute it, it doesn't matter. And so I think if I'm steamhappy, I'm going back to the drawing board a little bit, just being like, all right, okay, guys, we griefed ourselves a little bit, but I think that they had a great start. Their laning stage was really good, and so they showed some promise. And so I don't think that this result should affect them too much, and I expect that they'll do pretty well. And if you're the side of Shopkeepers, you definitely want to review those lanes, because with the comp that you had, I don't think those lanes should have went as poorly as they did. So perhaps you didn't place the right heroes together, perhaps you didn't play the lanes well enough, but I think it's worth looking at. So, you know, whoever the coach of Shopkeeper is, hey, I'm just kidding, it's Ranger. Ranger, if you're watching, you gotta look at their laning stage, because something went wrong there, and it could have cost them the game, but they managed to bounce back nicely.
Yeah, not the end of the world, remember, for steamhappy here. This is only for seeding, which definitely is a big factor. Get a little bit more comfortable on that day one. The bye going to be helping a lot, but more games means more learning, Deathy, and this loss, I think, is going to be a perfect learning opportunity for steamhappy to advance further on. They played very well, like you mentioned, maybe just a little bit of a comp difference, maybe a little bit of an execution, and being able to find some different draft, find ways to change things up as the games go on. And Shopkeepers, on the other hand, like you mentioned, getting that laning phase a little more crisper, finding, I guess, ways to pair different characters together, find better leads in that early game, but they do come out with the win. They will be going 1-0 in the Swiss phase of this tournament so far, and it looks like we are going to be getting an interview very shortly with Solemn on the side of Shopkeepers.
Yeah, so we're going to be getting an interview as the other games wrap up. And then what's going to happen after that interview, we're going to go to a short break, and then we're going to switch basically brackets. So just to explain to everybody, there's 24 teams total. Anyone that's not familiar, 24 teams total. 12 teams are in the Emissary Archon bracket. 12 teams are in the Oracle Phantom bracket. So there's essentially 2 tournaments that are happening. And I'd like to take this time while we are waiting for the interview to just give a quick little shout out to our donors. So if you'd like to contribute to the prize pool, just basically DM me on Discord. If you're not on Discord, Discord, DDS for the Death Slam Discord. But yeah, quick shout out to Toughpat, who donated 500 USD. Shout out to Lush, who donated 400 USD to the prize pool. Shout out to Jimmer for 300 USD. Shout out to Fatal/Brutal Car Crash Compilation. That's the name that he asked me to use. For 500 USD contribution. And he also, that's Fatal/Brutal Car Crash Compilation. And he asked me to
my girlfriend was watching that last night.
Really? Damn.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
Well, I don't know either. I'm not asking questions, but he did ask me.
$500, we'll take it.
Yeah, 500, exactly. We'll take it. It goes directly to the players. All these contributions are going straight into the prize pools. We're not taking anything. And he said to give a shout out to his friend James Martin. Now I think that James Martin does not like having his name said on broadcast, and so yeah, I said it.
Hey, James Martin. Seems like a common enough name. Shouldn't be any doxing there. I mean, hopefully, you never know what these ill freaks will do.
If he's doxed, then you have fatal/brutal car crash compilation to blame. Because
that's
he
true.
specifically requested for this to be done when he donated the $500. So anyway, if you guys would like to donate to the prize pool, we're at a total of $1,900 right now. Obviously, it's gonna be split between the 2 divisions, and the exact split will be determined. So it'll be 50-50 between the divisions. And right now, the prize pool has gone so big that we'll probably do a first and a second place prize, because in previous Death Slam, the prize pool was like $600 in North America. So now we've like tripled the prize pool. So yeah, it's really exciting and really awesome to see. And thank you guys for the support, basically.
Share the wealth. First and second place. Come on. Good.
Yeah, exactly.
On everybody. Thank you to all the donors. Thank you to everybody watching as well, getting a good amount of viewers. And you never think that too. The tier 2 scenes in all these games seem to be getting so many less viewers, but we're getting about as many viewers of a tier 2 scene for a even more popular game as Deadlock, which is a game in development. So, I mean, shout out to you guys for coming in and watching. I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate everybody donating, everybody watching, everybody subbing. So keep it coming. We have plenty more games ahead of us here very shortly, and we will be sending us to break here. So don't go anywhere. We will be coming back with an interview, I believe, with Solum on Shopkeepers.
I think we're skipping the interview.
Oh, are we? Okay,
yeah, we're having some tech issues. It's okay, but we are going to a break, though. That part is true. So stick around. We'll be back. No interview this time, but round 2 is coming soon. So stick around, grab some popcorn, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Hello and welcome back to the Deathy's Death Slam, North America. We've got the second edition, and now we're in round 2, and we're switching to, we're going to the Emissary Archon bracket this time. So the B stream, check the pinned comment, will be covering the Phantom Oracle bracket. If you're interested in seeing that, make sure to give that stream a follow as well, because they're covering a lot of the content from the league and stuff like that. So, you know, make sure to check it out. But here, we're going to be covering the slightly lower level of gameplay this time, and I'm really excited to see it. We've got Bear Pit Brawlers versus Spirit Herd here. So there's a lot of people in the chat talking about Bear Pit Brawlers earlier, so we decided to cover them. And then for the third round afterwards, we're going to cover Phantom Oracle once again, and we'll cover both teams are going to be 2-0. So it should be the quote-unquote best teams from that skill bracket, so stay tuned for that.
Some big hitters here, I guess, in this bracket. The more exciting bracket, at least to me. I'm going to be honest, Deathy. I'm excited for this game. More my speed. We never really know what we're going to see here. I think the Oracle Phantom, like, I mean, you never know what you're going to see in general, especially nowadays in kind of the game's lifespan. But in this league especially, I feel like the skill level's to the point where people are pretty much just going to go with their comfort, at least in my book. I feel like there's some room for, okay, we'll flex some picks here based on bans, but if someone's a Lash main, they're going to try to play Lash. If someone's a Yamato main, they're going to try to play, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like people are going to try to play with their best stat, and so we're going to be seeing, honestly, probably a very big, a lot of fights, maybe a lot of ARAM. I don't really know. That's the point. That's what I'm excited for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see what happens. As far as some quick little tidbits, so we've got some one-liners from the team. So Bear Pit Brawlers, what they had to say was featuring all the members of the Bear Pit Fight Club, excluding Kali. Don't know what that means, but hey, that's what they wanted to say. And then Spirit Urn, they're just role-playing. They said, Spirit Urn is here. Help me deliver the urn. That's my best impression of the urn, so don't ask me to do that again.
That wasn't bad. I'm going to be honest, that wasn't bad. I think you could be a voice actor. Maybe, you know, maybe just being a Spirit Urn voice actor, but that was pretty good. I'll take that.
Hit me up, Yoshi, if you guys need more lines for the Spirit Urn. I got you. So,
hey,
you know.
He's right here.
Sure. Yeah, we got a little bit of time to kill because we're working on some little technical difficulties for this match, I think. So, I've got some quick little fun facts. The first fun fact is I looked at all the games that were played, and the average game time was right around 37 minutes. Right, so that's first fun fact. So Perhaps some people might consider that long. Some people might think that's good. I personally, I think the sweet spot for deadlock games is when deadlock games are like 30-35 minutes. I think that's the sweet spot. 25 sometimes is a little short, but 37 minutes, a little bit on the longer side. So I didn't separate that in divisions. I'm guessing that on average the Emissary Archon matches last longer. So I guess I would need to check that. But that is the first fun fact that I had. And I actually thought I had another fun fact, but I don't think I have another fun fact.
Hey, well, maybe I can come up with a fun fact. But I'll talk about your fun fact a little bit, because I agree. I think if you get a 25-minute game, however long, 20 to 25-minute, that range, I feel like it's either the biggest stomp ever and it's not fun to watch, or some crazy thing happens, which is pretty rare. Like you get, actually on Thursday we did see, I mean, I'm not sure if you were watching the Thursday stream on the DSL League. There was a win, I believe it was about 30 minutes, so I wasn't quite in that 25-minute range, but they took the entire weakened patron without a single minion.
Yeah.
They won the fight so candidly. It was just a whole 6-man wipe in their base, and the patron was already down, so they just took the whole thing without any minion waves. So
and
that was
backdoor?
I mean, similar thing.
Like
it was they won the fight. They reset, kind of had a fight outside of their base, completely 6-man wiped it, and there was about 30 minutes, so the timers were about 50 seconds or so.
Yeah.
And so they just ran in and took it without a single minion wave, because somebody on the defending team, it was actually a 5-man wipe. Someone on the defending team cut the wave.
I see.
They killed 2 parts of the wave, tried to run back, they got caught, and then they just, all right, we'll just kill the patron anyway. So maybe we'll see some more of that craziness, because that was absolutely insane when I saw that on Thursday.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I mean, I think it's you know, the patron, once you get it down, once you get it to that stage, it's pretty easy to kill it. So, you know, we'll kind of see how that goes. I'm expecting, so from having casted previous Death Slams, generally what happens is the teams get more and more comfortable, right? So the difference with the league, for example, is the league, the teams have been playing together for many weeks already, so they're usually pretty comfortable playing the game in a team environment. The teams in this event are not comfortable playing together. They're not comfortable necessarily playing competitively. They're not taking a lot of risks, and they're a little bit more worried. Now, we didn't really see that. We got pretty lucky. Like, the first game that we casted, there was actually a lot of actions. Teams were taking risks. They were playing some pretty good deadlock. But I think that we might see a little bit more passive, a little bit more just, like, teams aren't really sure, you know, how aggressive they want to go. They might be nervous, right? Because these are lower-level players a little bit. And they're being on stream, so it's definitely a lot to handle as we get into the draft. Spirit Urn here versus Bear Pit Brawlers.
Hey, being on stream, getting the viewers, getting the casting attention, it's a lot for people to handle, but I'm hoping the Spirit Urn here and the Bear Pit Brawlers, I mean, it's pretty bold names, so I'm expecting to see some bold plays out of them here as the draft now just getting started. First bans should be coming in here fairly soon, and keep in mind, we pretty much know almost nothing. I mean, even more so than last game, about these players, about these characters, about what they're going to pick. New patch as well. It's all a mystery. So we're all in this together here as we do start off with a Lady Geist ban from Spirit Urn here.
Yeah, I think Geist is just universally going to get banned a lot today, just because of her previous strength, and she's probably still quite strong, but I'm a little bit surprised because honestly the nerfs on her like feel like they should have like a very significant impact. So I'm kind of curious myself. Like, I haven't played the game enough since the new patch to know if like Geist is still Thanos or if like these teams are overvaluing her a little bit. Warden ban, not too surprised. We saw Warden do quite well in the previous game, and I just think that this hero right now is probably really strong. As far as like first picks, we'll see whether they're valuing more like the traditional carries or if they value more like the new spirit heroes, right? Like Yamato got banned in the previous game that we watched, so we'll see if she gets through in this game.
See if she gets through here. Two big, I mean, I guess Lady Geist, I was going to say 2 big spirit carries kind of getting taken out, but they're both kind of like mixed. They can kind of do anything, both these characters. So 2, I guess we'll just say big characters getting banned away here. First Warden ban we're seeing this tournament, at least in the games being streamed, so I think definitely a good idea, and it will be a Vindicta first pick here. I know there's some interesting builds going around right now for Vindicta. I'm not sure how much you like that first pick.
I think Vindicta as a first pick is a little weird. I don't mind Vindicta top 3. I just think that the hero definitely has counters, right? So picking her first, to me, is you're opening up yourself to the counters. Now, responding with Mirage, I kind of understand. You don't want to necessarily give a team double shred with Mirage Vindicta. So there's not that many heroes that have shred in the game, right? There's like Mirage, Vindicta, 7, Ivy. But basically, like the most consistent one are Vindicta, Mirage, and 7. So you usually don't want to give Mirage and Vindicta on the same team because then it's a lot of shred, especially for the bullet damage. So I understand that pick. And then I'd like the... I'm not really sure about the Infernus. It looks like Bear Pit Brawlers are really, like, you know, betting a lot on the traditional, like, M1 carries. They're going to scale into the late game. You know, when the game gets to 25-30 minutes, these heroes are going to do a lot. But we'll see if they can get there.
Infernus getting picked up early in this draft. We saw last game with steamhappy picking that 4th, but still doing that Mirage justice on the first pick as well. So still pretty popular characters, this Infernus, this Mirage, these M1 carries. And like you were saying, it probably has to do with this comfort, right? We've been having pretty similar patch for a while now. These players probably got pretty accustomed to these play styles, so why not, or why change it up now? Why not just run what you're comfortable with, especially in this Emissary Archon League? We will be seeing a Viscus coming in here, possibly to help protect and peel this Vindicta, maybe just to lock in your support character, or who knows, maybe they have a Viscus one trick. I guess we'll find out shortly. They do have one more pick here. They are, you know, a little bit of catch. They have the Vindicta, possibly some decent damage as well. The Viscus gets you a little bit of support, gets you a little bit of peeling. They are missing some dive, maybe some damage. They're missing a lot in their comp. What are you looking here? Maybe they can round something out here, get the first 3 picks nice and strong. And it's going to be a 7, actually.
I like the 7. 7 is kind of always a sure value, especially at this rank. Like, 7 has always been kind of the hero that has, like, a really high win rate in pubs and also a really high win rate at low ranks. Like, 7's win rate is kind of like has an inverse correlation to the rank, right? The higher rank you are, the worse 7 is generally, and the lower rank, the better. So I like the 7. The Viscus is just a really strong hero, but he's very pilot dependent, so we'll see if they have a good Viscus player. And then the Lash as a response, I think Lash is a great pick here. It's good against the 7, it's good against the Vindicta, right? You've got the Death Slam. First of all, it's the name of the tournament, so, I mean, I'm glad that we see Lash being picked, but also the ult will be able to counter 7. You can get Vindicta out of the skies, and they ban Haze, which I find a bit interesting. It makes sense because Haze is really, really good at countering Infernus and Mirage, and also her Sleep Dagger can stop Lash ult, so I kind of like the Haze ban here, and we'll see what Spirit Urn chooses to ban.
Spirit Urn balls in their court. They have the ban available here. Good little counter with the Lash you were talking about. I'm excited to see that character, especially in this type of tournament with these Archon Emissary players kind of battling it out. Lash, one of those kind of feast or famine type characters, I feel like, in this elo for sure. You're either going to get someone that really knows what they're doing, is popping off, or you're going to get someone that looks a little lost. And I'm hoping for the former, not the latter here on the squad for the Bear Pit Brawlers. Spirit Urn here. Thinking about this ban, they do go with the Mo and Krill ban here. I'm not quite sure. I guess that's, scared, you know, trying to stop the 7, stop the Vindicta. Maybe they're scared of the CC a little bit. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I feel like your heroes are already pretty good against Mo. Like, I don't really think you care that much. Like, the stun is good against Mo, Viscus Cube and ult is good against Mo generally. Although Viscus can get Mo ulted while he's in ball, so that's one small downside. Vindicta is obviously good against Mo because she's got the shred and the percent health damage, right? So the crow does more damage
and
to
she can fly.
Targets, and she flies. So, you know, generally you're pretty happy. But regardless, it looks like Bear Pit Brawlers is going to respond with a Pocket pick. Now, to be honest, I think Pocket is strong right now, but I think against these heroes, it's not the best pick at the moment. But I do think that he's probably a strong hero, with especially Spirit being better as well this patch a little bit. Affliction, there's no real easy counterplay to Affliction anymore ever since Debuff Remover doesn't remove it. So you need to buy Divine Barrier, and Divine Barrier is obviously a very expensive item that not a lot of people like to buy, which makes, basically, if you hit a big Affliction, the fight is very, very difficult for the enemy team. So it's always a problem to deal with. And if you're Spear and Herd here, I think that one of the things you're lacking a little bit is you kind of need one of those side lane heroes, someone who can match the Infernus or the Mirage. Because right now, I feel like with 7, Vindicta, Viscus, most of these heroes can't really match Infernus or Mirage in the side lanes, right? And with Haze being banned, and Warden being banned, and Geist being banned, it's like, who's left to pick for that role?
Like, they're going to be picking the Kelvin, who does not fit that role. However, I guess they want a little bit more peel, maybe some healing, maybe something to, I guess, keep them safe during these Pocket and Lash engages here, as they still do have one more pick. We'll see what characters left. They're possibly could be for them, and it will be the Paradox, possibly trying to snipe the Lash out of the sky, deny the pocket. The Silence is going to be very, very good for them playing around, but yet again, I mean, they have the 7 in the Vindicta, but is that really enough damage?
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I think it's enough damage to an extent. I do think that they're kind of falling into the trap of potentially not having enough damage. I really like the Shift pick here coming out of Bear Pit Brawlers. The Dynamo pick, I'm not so sure. Like, I think it's going to be kind of hard. At the same time, if Spirit Urn here don't play well, Dynamo can get a ton of value here. And, you know, you've got the Lash into Dynamo combo, and it's very likely it's a comfort pick as well. Let me just check the rosters real quick, because I do believe that I am the coach of Bear Pit Brawlers, but I'm coaching 8 teams, so sometimes it's a little hard to remember everything. So I'm just going to check the roster while you can yap for a little bit, just so I can remember something.
Yeah, well, Yamato being picked up last for Spirit Urn here, so like we're talking about a little bit more of that damage, and we talked about Yamato earlier, possibly being one of those Spirit characters that could be an issue in the game in general right now. It could be a very, very powerful pick, especially in the right hands. So it will be that Vindicta, Viscous, 7, Kelvin Paradox, Yamato on the left, and Shiv, Dynamo, Pocket, Lash, and Furnace, Mirage on the right. Lots of dive for the Bear Pit Brawlers here. However, they do still have an Infernus and a Mirage, who definitely can join in on that chase. They can join in on that dive for sure. Maybe a little bit more vulnerable than I would say a Pocket or maybe a Lash for sure. And on the side of Spirit Urn here, I think with that Yamato pickup, I don't know, to me it's looking like they do finally actually have enough of that damage. They have some M1 damage. Not actually sure if Vindicta's really an M1 character anymore. I don't really think so. I think people have been running the...
Depends how you build her.
Or like the... Yeah, I guess it depends how you build her. We'll see how they build her here, but... I mean, I kind of like Spirit Urn here's comp a little more, honestly. I might give it to them.
Really? I think that Spirit Urn here's comp runs into some pretty big problems. Like, you know, at the end of the day, when you get, like, first of all, their comp is basically all spirit damage, unless Vindicta decides to go gun. So even though Vindicta is not a gun hero, I would actually probably like to see her go gun this game, because I feel like they need gun damage. Because on the side of Bear Pit Brawlers, if they just, like, go full spirit resist mode, right, and they just build, like, spirit resilience on every single hero on their team, I feel like it's going to be a little hard for Spirit Urn here. Now, there is a saving grace, which is the fact that they have double shred, they have Vindicta and 7, so if the side of Bear Pit Brawlers decides to go a lot of spirit resistance, they can have shred, and there's also, like, Spirit Rend would go crazy here, right? So Spirit and Rend is a ton of value. Now the question is, who's going to buy Spirit Rend to apply it, right? Because a lot of these heroes, they don't really like shooting their gun that much, so it's going to be a little awkward, but it would be probably a great buy here.
I think the reason, maybe I'll put a little bit of reasoning to my pick here, because I do agree with everything you said. But if you put into the context of the ELO we're playing out here, the comfortability of the players and the teams, a 7 ult is still in the game here, Deathy. I mean, one really good 7 ult can just win you an entire fight, or at least force them to run away.
But the other team
we saw that a bit in the last game here, right? The other team does have Dynamo too. I mean, both characters I really do like, both game-changing ultimates, so it's going to come down to a bit of execution. I think Bear Pit Brawlers, I do agree, probably have a bit of an easier comp to execute, which we did talk about last time before the break. The easier comp to execute probably will be the comp winning. So Bear Pit Brawlers, maybe a slight edge. Spirit Urn here doesn't change the fact I still like their comp, maybe because I play a lot of those characters. So something I want to see do well.
I think Spirit Urn probably has the easier comp realistically. Like, their comp is pretty easy. Like, the only thing that's hard in their comp is, like, the Viscous, right? But at the end of the day, like, their fights are, like, straightforward. You know what I mean? The fights of Bear Pit Brawlers,
I guess, yeah.
Like, they have to position a lot better. Like, Spirit Urn here, their positioning can be a little bit more forgiving, right? Because they have a lot of, like, get-out-of-jail-free cards. Like, Vindicta is going to be hard to catch. Yamato has her ultimate, which makes her invulnerable. Kelvin has Dome to counter the Lash ult. You know, you've got Cube as well to save people. Viscous ult. A lot of these heroes are going to be pretty hard to, like, kill, and so it's a little bit more forgiving. Whereas if you catch a Pocket and he doesn't have his abilities, or if you catch Infernus or Mirage, you know, these heroes are a lot more just like, okay, well, I got caught. And if you have double tether this game, could be a little bit of a problem, right? Double Vindicta tether onto the Infernus or the Mirage, and then you just have your Yamato go on them, or they get domed, or they get 7 ulted while they're all tethered and corrode. I could see how it, like, could be disastrous pretty quickly as well for Bear Pit Brawlers.
Okay. Well, you're just strengthening my point even more here. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
I mean, at the end of the day, both teams, I appreciate that. That's what I need. That's honestly what I need in life. Someone just there for me. Spirit Urn here. Bear Pit Brawlers both getting ready in this game. I think taking their sweet little time in the lobby, getting everything figured out here. One thing, a little bit of the X factor we kind of briefly talked about here. I would say for the Bear Pit Brawlers, especially at this elo. I've graced this elo many, many times, especially recently with how the matchmaking's working. My elo would say Phantom 2, but I swear to God, I see purple every time I play the game.
Yep.
And Dynamo ult is the king in this elo. Every time there's a Dynamo on the enemy team, it does not matter how far behind. I've seen some crazy upsets. I've seen some crazy comebacks in these fights, and with a Lash ult to counter as well, to throw them in at a Pocket ult just to keep everybody low. I mean, there's a lot of big ults on the side of Bear Pit Brawlers. And with a Shiv on there as well, you know, with the Shiv with the Pocket, it's kind of a classic combo of just keeping everybody low, finding those easy executes. So a lot of combo potential for the Brawlers, and I'm excited to see it all the same. I think regardless how this game goes, we're going to see a lot of action.
Yeah, I think on the side of Spirit Urn here, they probably need a curse, ideally. Like, that's an item that I would prioritize on their team. Like, they just need one hero that has a curse for this Dynamo ult. At this rank, I see a lot of Dynamos, they never go unstoppable, or they, like, delay it a lot. So if you just have curse, you just counter their entire hero. And on top of that, curse is good against, like, basically every hero, right? If you curse Pocket, he's also, like, has no recourse. If you curse, like, Infernus or Mirage, they can't shoot, and, like, they can't escape. Curse Slash, you can also interrupt his ult, right? So I think Curse could go pretty hard here. Fun fact, you can also counterspell Dynamo Black Hole. I don't know if you knew this.
Oh, I mean, it makes sense. I never really thought about it before.
You can parry it, but you only get a very small window. So basically, if you counterspell Dynamo Black Hole, you get a very, very small window to get out of the Black Hole. You can't actually walk out of it, so you need something like a Warp Zone to get out of it. But if you parry, you get Black Hole as you're parrying, and then you can Warp Zone out of it. Like, that interaction does work.
I'm not sure we'll be seeing too many of that
this game. I don't think we'll be seeing any of that today, but you never know.
I might try to do that in a game, you know? I don't know how, but maybe it's something to go for here. I mean, theoretically, if you parry somebody while you're counterspelling the Dynamo ult, you could just parry again and extend your timer even more.
Well, no, you can't, because counterspell has a cooldown.
Oh, wait. Well, oh, that's true. Okay, never mind.
So you would be able to parry again, but your parry would not have the counterspell effect, so you would just look like an idiot, unfortunately. But hey, I mean, feel free to do that in your games. I'm
really good at that. I believe it or not, I'm really good at looking like an idiot in my games. So maybe actually, you probably won't, but somebody will see me in one of these games doing that as the game now. I believe we're getting started.
Yep, we're gonna get started shortly with this game. Spirit Urn here versus Bear Pit Brawlers. For anybody just tuning in, this is the second round of the Swiss stage today, so there's going to be one more game after this. This is just for seeding purposes, so nobody's getting eliminated. And this is the average rank of these teams is Emissary and Archon. So everybody in these teams is either Emissary or Archon, and we made the teams to be, you know, as balanced as possible when it comes to rank. So I'm really excited to see this, and I hope you guys at home are excited too.
Yeah, maybe before the game starts here. Actually, never mind. Leave that alone. We can talk about that later. Not a big deal here. We're already getting started. Lanes are coming in here as the waiting on the UI just to make sure everybody gets updated here. The lanes, we're going to see the Yamato and the Viscous against the Dynamo and the Mirage will be the 7 and the Kelvin in the mid lane against the Shiv and the Pocket. A little bit of a scarier lane here. And on the right side, we'll be seeing the Paradox in the Vindicta actually against the Lash and the Infernus. So those are the lanes, and as we get a pause here, we can maybe talk about some of the players as well.
We've already got the GG called from Spirit Urn here. No, you know, it looks like they're ready already, so it's not going to be a long pause, thankfully, which is great to hear. I believe the UI just got fixed, or yeah, it just got updated, so we'll go over the teams real quick. So I'll go over the roster of Spirit Urn. We've got Stinky Poncho on the Viscous. We've got AA4D, or just call him AD, on the Paradox. We've got Land Pedro, Land Pedro on the Vindicta. Mechanic on the Yamato. Chill Bezel on the 7, and Shoddy on the Kelvin.
I'm jealous. You got to say Stinky Poncho, but I get to talk about the Bear Pit Brawlers, so I guess it's even here. As we got Dr. Switch on the Shiv, Regretful is going to be on the Lash, Rightful Kin on the Dynamo, Johnny John, I like that name, on the Mirage, Nut Monster is going to be on the Infernus, and Pubert, I feel like I've seen that guy many times before. Pubert is going to be on the Pocket. So as we get started in these lanes, with Pubert, still pretty even.
Has he been running down your games, or do you want to talk about?
No, I have no clue. I just swear to God I've seen that name, because whenever I see funny names in my games, I always just make a big deal about him. So Pubert's one of them I've seen. So I'm excited to see Pubert pop off this game. The Pubert pop off.
I just like to imagine like the people watching this, like this is like a pretty average lobby, right? Like there's probably a lot of people in the chat that are these ranks, and I just imagine you're watching this and you're like, man, I just played with Dr. Switch like 10 minutes ago, and he just went 0-12. Why is he here?
That guy sucks.
Yeah, exactly. I just imagine that all the time. I'm sure that happens. Let us know in the chat if you've played with any of these players before, because it's always really funny. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how this one goes as the Infernus Lash lane versus Vindicta Paradox. This one should be quite interesting. There's a lot of kill potential in that one, and the Shiv Pocket lane as well. A lot of kill potential there, whereas most likely the Mirage Dynamo lane should be more boring, but I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of brawling on the minimap there.
Yeah, a little bit of brawling so far. Pretty even trades overall. The Paradox is going to be going low as well as Dynamo. Dynamo needs to be careful, but manages to get back to this shop in time, and with this little bit of a break, a little bit of shopping. It's a good time maybe to mention as well, you were talking about earlier, if you recognize any of these players in your games, that most likely means you'll be eligible to enter these types of tournaments as well. So anyone in chat curious about competitive deadlock, curious about this type of stuff, check out the Death Slam League, Death Slam events, the Death Slam tournament, any of these things. Just look in the Discord. I believe there's some links in the stream as well, so feel free to join up and just take a look, because you could realistically be in these games as well.
Yeah, it's definitely not out of reach at all. I mean, there's 144 people from our communities that made it into this tournament, so you know, you could be next essentially, and I think it's a lot of fun. So definitely join the Discord. Type !DDS to get the Discord. The other Discord link that's being spammed in the chat is my personal Discord, which, I mean, you can always join and ask for the Discord there, and I'm sure people will give it to you as well. But yeah, you definitely have a chance of joining these events and having a good time, and, you know, being on the stream and showcasing your skills or lack thereof in front of everybody. I mean, up to you, really.
Up to you. Doesn't matter all the same. You get to practice, you get to have some fun. And these players starting to have a little bit of fun as the health bar is pretty low on all of Bear Pit Brawlers. At the same time, Spiritor in here looking like some heavy trading going on both teams. It looks like the middle lane for Spiritor in here is pushing in this Pocket and Shiv, I believe, trying to keep this wave as much as possible. Right side, I feel like should be the most volatile of the lanes, but not too much other than a couple has been going on over. And I feel like a lot of these players just really don't want to die yet. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing in general with the coaching session that I've had with the especially Emissary Archon teams. A lot of the time I'm telling them, like, hey guys, you got to play a little more aggressive in lane, right? And I think they're already doing. I mean, you know, you didn't see any of the scrims. I don't think I saw some of the scrims, and in some of the scrims,
I did not.
You know, we didn't see. It was like extremely passive sometimes. So there's already a lot of damage on the side of Bear Pit Brawlers. If you look at the top of the UI, you see like Lash, Shiv, Pocket, like all of these heroes are half health. So definitely a health advantage overall for Spiritor. And as we look, Vindicta's about to hit her ultimate timing, right? And Lash is incredibly hurt, so we should probably keep an eye on the Vindicta and see what's going on, see if she can hit a snipe as she's about to unlock her ultimate. And Dynamo secures, and it looks like first blood goes to Vindicta.
Yeah, Vindicta getting that first blood. Not sure if it was the snipe or not, but still going to be a very good first blood all the same. And second going over to the Kelvin and the 7 there. I believe the kill went over to the 7 on to the Shiv. Bear Pit Brawlers now losing one of their own, but I believe they did get both buffs if I was looking correctly, so yeah. Definitely nothing too crazy. Only a 2k lead and a little bit of a fight going over on the right hand side. Paradox swap going over onto the Infernus and the snipe coming in through, but it's not going to hit. I'm not sure if that would have killed quite any yet anyway, but a little trade on the right hand side, a little bit of aggression being shown already, and these players starting to scrap.
Yeah, I mean, anyone's trying to fight for any lead that they can get, trying to snowball the laning stage. One thing in these lobbies, too, is that very often people are not as good about getting tower damage, right? So sometimes these towers, they last for a long time. And the towers were also, you know, technically their resistance was buffed, so they take a little bit longer to kill as well. So any damage that you can get on them definitely adds up. Right now, we've only got one tower that's taken significant damage as 80 on the Paradox goes down. Gets picked up, and Lash is once again extremely hurt. I mean, this Vindicta Paradox lane is very, very action-packed so far.
Yeah, it looked like the Infernus Lash managed to just barely squeeze out of that one. They did get a kill, but kind of limped out of that one with very low health bars. Vindicta being full health, still able to stay and push the wave, push the turret. So at the same time, Spiritor in here might have lost one, but they're not too worried about it because they will be getting this Guardian on the outer, or on the end of things here. Mid lane looking a little bit more passive than everything else, as the right side seems to be the more volatile of the lanes here. And it looks like the Infernus and the Lash are still going to stay, actually, in this lane, as some volatility on the mid lane now coming through the 7-stun, and the Kelvin slow coming in on the members of Bear Pit Brawlers in the middle lane. But I just feel like they don't quite have enough damage with this Kelvin 7 combo to really kill a Pocket or a Shiv.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Paradox here setting up to gank in the mid, as we've got a black hole on the side lane, not really going to be able to connect. Well, I mean, it does connect, but not really going to be able to do enough, right? As Yamato dives onto the Mirage. Mirage 1 HP, gets taken down by the Power Slash. Yamato going to be able to reset safely. And now in the mid lane, we had a little bit of action as well, as Shiv goes down to the Paradox gank. And I think that the mid tower will probably be the next to fall, as Vindicta is in a 1 versus 2 situation in the other lane versus Lash and Furnace. And it looks like she's able to hold them off. So they just get 2 towers, and now it's starting to snowball a little bit. Spiritor in here getting a nice lead.
Yeah, great roam from the Paradox, I believe. Probably a swap came in through to get that kill onto the Shiv of Bear Pit Brawlers and allow them to get the space for that mid tower. So Spiritor in here showing a very, very good and strong early game. Some great laning. The Viscous and the Yamato, kind of a slightly weaker lane, going to be surviving, which is pretty much their entire job for now. Even gold in that lane overall, I would say. Mid turret going down, or Guardian rather going down, right side Guardian going down for Spiritor in here. And they do have a 6k gold advantage, which isn't that much, but for this early in the game, that's somewhat substantial, I would say.
It's definitely substantial. It's also the thing you have to worry about is the 2-tower lead, right? That 2-tower lead allows them to roam a lot more. Now we're going to see Paradox. Paradox is kind of being Mrs. Worldwide at the moment. You know, she's going to be going to the left lane, trying to make stuff happen there. And 7 invading a little bit as well, but you know, he's just trying to steal some farm here on the side of 7 as he gets a little cheeky, takes one jungle creep away. Actually, might be able to get the other pocket. Nope, never mind. He pocket secures that. We have a funny little interaction. Not much coming out of that. But Paradox is applying pressure on the left side of the lane here, ganking the Dynamo Mirage as we look over to that.
Yeah, the Dynamo Mirage in trouble here, playing under their tower. They do get swapped. The Mirage needs to be careful, but it looks like they will get out of it fairly unscathed. Johnny John on the Mirage getting slightly lower, but nothing too crazy. They are going to be keeping their tower for now. Trying to kill this wave is the Bear Pit Brawlers. They don't want to lose the last of their Guardians already. A great little stomp there for the Dynamo. Going to be stalling things for now. And some action actually over on the right side here. It's the Kelvin trying to finish off this Pocket, who is looking incredibly low over on this right-hand side. But at the same time, a dive coming in from the Yamato on the left side, going over here, trying to look for the Mirage, who's getting incredibly low here. The Dynamo has so much room to play with, so he needs to find this heal. He needs to find some value, just peel for this Mirage here. But they're actually going forward here to get this wave in time. The Yamato trying to do some damage to the Dynamo, but he's looking slippery. You just cannot, I mean, they can't really kill anyone here.
Definitely an interesting engage. I mean, I feel like Yamato was just a little bit more passive than she needed to be there. But overall, buffs are about to spawn. It looks like both buffs instantly secured by Spiritor in here. So Bear Pit Brawlers, it's not looking great for them so far. Now they are only down 3k, and as you said, Dynamo is king, right? So you don't know what's going to happen, right? If it gets to 15-20 minutes, Dynamo gets some big black holes. It's going to be problematic. Shiv getting chased down here in the middle lane. Pocket uses his cloak. 7 ult going out to protect. And it looks like it's going to be... No kills are going to happen. Stinky Poncho goes down in the other lane, but no kills happening mid. As Kelvin also going down. Big fight. Yamato goes down as well. 3 kills for the side of Bear Pit Brawlers. And that's exactly what you want if you're them. And they completely even out the soul count.
Dynamo is king. We're a little late to that fight. Didn't quite catch what went down, but I do see a used Dynamo, and I do see 2 people dead, so I can only imagine what happened there as Spiritor trying to get something back on that middle walker here, but it looks like they're not really going to be getting too much, and Bear Pit Brawlers get a Guardian of their own on the left side, and it looks like they might get the right side one as well, but Kelvin coming in here, and I believe he does not actually have the dome. So they could still get it. They are getting pushed out here, but Infernus going to be going down here due to the Vindicta snipe. Vindicta almost at 10k gold here, looking very, very ahead. Gotta be scary for the Bear Pit Brawlers.
Yeah, this Vindicta is going to be a problem for sure, and you know, if you're Lash, you're going to have to make it your life's mission to counter this Vindicta, as Mirage just drops the urn in the middle of the midwave, and then runs away from the midwave as well. So, not really sure about that one, but hey, I mean, you know, a little bit of a perhaps miscommunication. Pocket ends up securing the midwave, and it's all right. And Dynamo's gonna head towards the urn. Well, actually, he's final farming, but funnily enough, I think that we're getting a Stomp Dynamo here. By the way, Jordan, I believe that it's a Stomp Dynamo because he's got improved Spirit and stuff, and I don't really see why you would do that if you're not going Stomp Dynamo. So we'll see.
I do love me some Stomp Dynamo. One of the characters I do like playing the most. I think Ult Dynamo obviously is just better in a team environment overall, but Stomp is more fun. You know, you get to do more things yourself, get a little bit more damage, and they do. I mean, he's gonna add into the dive composition for his team anyway. Dive in with him, get some stomps in, find an ult if he can get it. Not a big deal either way. He is actually pretty ahead too, so he's up there almost in the 10k club with the Mirage and the Pocket. So definitely not weak by any means here, as this turret finally will be going down for Spirit Urn here. The Bear Pit Brawlers basically had that one under wraps. It just only took one Infernus charging in there for them to get it. Looks like this Urn is going to be the next fight they will be playing for here. Kelvin, Shoddy on the Kelvin, on Spirit Urn here, or Spirit Urn here, regardless. I might just call him Spirit Urn, I'm going to be honest with you. That is confusing to say. But he's prepping, playing a little bit slower with this Urn, but really there's not many people on the Bear Pit Brawlers here to defend. They might just turn this one in. The Pocket is almost in range. The Infernus is in range. They're going to be looking for sure. He gets the punch. He drops the urn. And it looks like Kelvin needs to be careful here as he pops the dome. Infernus going to be popping the ult, so not too much going to be happening here overall. However, it will be the Pocket. It will be the re-engage from the Bear Pit Brawlers to come in here and take out Shoddy, who is holding the urn, and that will be Wraithful Kin dumping this one in. No, he actually misses it, but he should get this one back in, as only Vindicta is here to defend.
Oh, she punches though. She's trying to delay.
Though.
Yeah, she's got the punch. He's gonna pick it back up. She's just staring at him. He's aura mogging her right now. He's just looking at her. And is she gonna be able to get some denies? She gets a little bit of denies, but you know, that whole urn maneuver that has a name, we call that the Amazon Prime delivery, right? Unfortunately, Spirit Urn here, you know, they with their team name, they went up to the other team and they said Spirit Urn here. They gave it to them and they let them deliver it. So, unfortunate, not what you want to see if you're Spirit Urn, but it's not game losing, right? It's only a 3k lead for the side of Bear Pit Brawlers, but definitely once again the script has been flipped. And is it me, or every time a team wins lane so far, we just see them like fumble in the next 5 minutes?
Well, you haven't spectated too many games so far, but that has been the theme so far. We'll see if we can go 3 for 3 in next game as well. But one thing I will say, Spirit Urn here did manage to pick up Dr. Switch on the disengage there, found a pick of their own and managed to pick up a little bit of farm, and now they have their entire jungle to farm as well. So I don't really think it should be too bad of a gold disadvantage here. It's only about 2k for Spirit Urn. They would have liked the Spirit Urn, obviously, hence their name, but not going to be the end of the world like you were saying. Vindicta going to be left alone over on this right-hand side. 13k already on Pedro, trying to scale as much as possible. Buffs and Urn, again, should be coming up here in 20 seconds. And these characters, these ults, pretty much almost all up for both teams.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see which side they stack on here. It looks like both teams aren't really ready for these buffs, right? I'm not sure if they're calling it in the voice chat. I tried to, when I coach teams, I try to tell them. It looks like the side of Spirit Urn here is a little bit more ready, and they're going to get both buffs. And we'll see kind of what happens with this Urn, because it's a 4k lead, but canonically Spirit Urn, they have to go for the Urn, right? Like it's kind of like how, you know, in Marvel Rivals, there's like the lore buffs, right? Here, like their lore buff is they have to go for the Urn. Or you can call it a debuff, whatever you want, but Yamato is like, look at her on the left side, deep behind enemy lines. The lane is at her walker, but she's at their walker, like, hello?
Yeah, this is weird. Oh, I see why, because Mirage is incredibly low, and it might actually go down. The Yamato looking for the kill, but Lash comes in to save the Yamato, and actually might get the kill in return. The Kelvin nowhere to be found. The Lash ult coming in, the Death Slam, hence the name, but a great parry comes in from Yamato, but it doesn't matter, man, as Lash comes in last second to save the day. Mirage going to be surviving that one with just a sliver of health.
Yeah, that's I mean, that was just a funny engagement. Like, Yamato, what are you doing there? Like, your wave is at your walker. I like it. She though. Wants the Mirage. You know, I appreciate the aggression. I think most likely what happened is she saw the Mirage on the zip. She may have knocked down the Mirage off the zip and then tried to go for him, but just a little bit too deep, caught alone, and, you know, honestly, the lash ult probably didn't need to get used there, but Regretful just wanted to make sure that he had her in the bag. At the end of the day, the lead is only getting bigger for Bear Pit Brawlers, now boasting a 5k lead, nobody picking up the urn, and we've got kind of like the ARM effect here, where both teams are just sitting 4 people around mid, and we'll see which team is able to be more efficient. But if you look in terms of farm, Bear Pit Brawlers has taken all of their center sacrifices, and they've taken a little bit more of their farm, which probably explains their lead to an extent.
Yeah, I talked about earlier how Spirit Urn got that pick. They started to come back into their own jungle, try to get some of their farm, but they never actually got any of that farm. Maybe like a couple tier 2 camps here and there, but the Spirit sector, the slots, I'm going to call it, still up on the left side here for Spirit Urn, and they do have a majority of the tier 3 camps available as well. So, I mean, you want your 7 on those, I would think, you know?
Yeah. I mean, well, you know, I think that both teams are a little bit hesitant, but it looks like Kelvin is going to pick up the urn here and decide, hey, guys, we're going to go for this. He's making the executive decision. Shoddy's had enough. He's like, I don't want to stalemate anymore. I don't want us to just, like, sit around mid. We're strong. He feels strong, at least. They've got the 7 ult. They've got the Yamato ult. Maybe they can try to force this. At the same time, though, they took so long that now Lash ult is back up in Furnace ult. They've got Dynamo ult, right? And one small mistake, Bear Pit Brawlers here are keeping the Mirage on the side of the urn. Usually you'd see Mirage rotate to the other lane so that he can TP to this fight. But you're not seeing the positioning. And Kelvin's just he's gonna walk right in, try to dunk it. Pocket punches him off. Lash ult onto 2. Goes for the slam. Yamato ults. And the fight begins.
Fight begins. Dynamo ulting that urn turn in as well here, followed by a Kelvin Dome. Shoddy trying to reset as best as possible for Spirit Urn here. Shoddy going down. Dr. Switch going down as well. There's a 1-for-1, but now it's going to be a 2-for-1. The Bear Pit Brawlers are looking to be on top here, but as I say that, Pubert on the pocket goes down. Dove a little bit too deep. So does the Yamato on Spirit Urn. Here is a back and forth fight, and there is no one here that's actually going to be able to make any big difference. However, the 7 during all of that on Spirit Urn here just takes the full walker.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a little bit of a back and forth still, as we still got a fight going on the left side, and they're still getting chased. And are they able to catch the Vindicta or the Viscous? I think that they'll be able to escape and nothing will come of it, but a lot of back and forth. Bear Pit Brawlers do come out on top, even though they lost a walker, but Spirit Urn, they get a bit of a consolation prize. They get an additional flex slot. And 7's got the Boundless Spirit. He's got the Surge of Power. He's going for the, looks like the max power surge type build, the more carry type 7. And he's got 20k, so he's going to be a menace. And now you get more Spirit for your investments. And Boundless Spirit got buffed, right? So he's probably going to be hitting like a truck right now.
Hitting like a truck, and we're about to see him in action right now. The stun comes through, the ball comes through, a little bit of the damage comes through, and just that quick 2 or so seconds of damage almost just completely kills this Lash, who is incredibly low, trying to run away, trying to get out as best as possible, and great movement so far. Managed to get on the hyper lane and manages to get out here. Regretful. I mean, kudos to you. That was a very, very strong play. As over on the right-hand side, we're seeing the 1v1 in Furnace versus Yamato, and it looks like the Yamato with the ultimate is going to take the win. Bear Pit Brawlers is going down 1 man here, and that allows Spirit to have a little bit more pressure on this map.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, some crazy engages happening left and right. Shoddy here getting extremely low as Dynamo goes in with his stomp, trying to get some damage. 7 stun on him, he's going to get stunned. Takes down the Kelvin, 300 HP. Yamato goes in. Mechanic's going to be able to take down Wraithikin as we've got abilities traded left and right. Pocket backs up. Regretful goes down to Chill Bezel, and Chill Bezel takes down a second victim with his ultimate, and that should also be the walker going down here for the side of Spirit Urn as they look to strike back.
Striking back, they do. They get 4 kills for 1, basically. I guess it was 3 for 1 since the 1v1 happened earlier on in that play. And I feel bad for our observers right now, Deathy, because there is just fighting all over the map. We cannot catch all of it, as I believe one of the kills went over in the mid lane, I think happened, over on Spirit Urn, and managed to find like a 1v1 somewhere in the mix there. But that does allow them, with these kills, to get the urn canonically. I believe that's their first one. I think Bear Pit Brawlers have gotten the other 2 so far.
Unfortunately.
So finally.
Unfortunately, Bear Pit Brawlers have gotten the other 2, but Spirit Urn, they get their first urn. And I mean, that's got to give them something. That's got to give them some sort of buff now. I think in the comms, they might be rallying.
Morale buff.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're thinking the same thing here.
Yeah, I think they're probably feeling pretty good. You know, they were behind. Now they're back on top. 10k lead. They got the urn. They have the flex lot advantage as well, right? So they're feeling pretty good. This 7 is a huge issue. He's got Spirit Rend as well, right? Which I was talking about how Spirit Rend was going to be an important item this game because you've got a lot of spirit damage on the side of Spirit Urn. And Spirit Rend, for those that don't know, I mean, it doesn't apply just to your damage. It applies to everyone's damage. Right, so it reduces their spirit resistance quite quickly. So if you headshot someone, instantly they lose 14% spirit resistance. And if you headshot them again 2.5 seconds later, they're already at minus 21%. As Mirage narrowly escapes Kelvin.
Narrowly escaping the Kelvin gank here. Not quite enough damage here for Shoddy, but still going to be favorable as that Mirage ult going down. Slightly longer cooldown, so not going to be too big of a presence on the map as he normally would be. We have a lot of time before this next urn and buff, so team's going to be posturing, possibly Bear Pit Brawlers trying to defend this last walker, whereas Spirit Urn here forming an offense, trying to get this one. And they are very heavily in the lead. It's only 6k up. However, this is a 2-walker lead for Spirit Urn here. And if you look at where the souls actually are on both these teams, the 7, the Vindicta, and the Yamato, all the damage, have a lot of souls. And it looks like they're going to be having a lot of time here, but it's not for Wraithful Kin to say something about it with a great Dynamo, getting 1 kill, getting a couple members. And Spirit Urn here, actually, all of them going down. Wraithful Kin, or Wraith the Kin, going to be losing his life in the process, but managing to take out 3 of them. But on the other side, actually, Pubert going down on the pocket, maybe dove a little bit too deep, and now Johnny John on the Bear Pit Brawlers needs to be careful, getting chased now by the 7 with 28k. They have all the souls still alive for Spirit Urn, and they are going to be evening it up 3-3. However, the timers are just a little bit longer on Bear Pit Brawlers, so Spirit Urn here managing to kind of strike back after that almost disastrous fight.
As we were stuck in the ground for a little bit, there are some navigation difficulties from our side, but yeah, I mean, this 7 is really like a huge issue, right? That fight started out like great for Bear Pit Brawlers. They got a bunch of kills right away, but 7 comes out, 30k net worth to his name, and just obliterates the enemy team. And 7 is, you know, really didn't receive any super significant nerfs other than the, you know, the ultimate cooldown nerf. But this 7 is not really playing around his ultimate. He's more playing around the power surge. And Infernus is going to be looking to fight back here as Yamato 1 HP goes down, and Nut Monster is actually turning it here 1v2. Kelvin 500 HP trying to run away. Shiv shows up, should be able to hit the execute here. Well, actually, they're getting juked a little bit. Kelvin with the Ice Path, execute comes through. Kelvin finally goes down, and that's going to be 2 kills for the side of Bear Pit Brawlers, equalizing things just a little bit, but they don't have a single walker to their name anymore.
No walkers, but get a small consolation prize. A great play from Nut Monster here, just managing to find that outplay 1v2, get that Yamato, live with just a sliver of HP, and buy enough time for your team to come and help out. And now with Shoddy and Mechanic, the Yamato and the Kelvin both gone, Bear Pits are going to be starting up this mid-boss here, Deathy, but I'm not sure how well it's going to work out for him. The 7 ult is coming up here, but he might not even need a 31k 7 right on top of mid-boss here. The Paradox is ready and in position. It is going to be tough for Bear Pit Brawlers to actually take this one here as the mid-boss is getting low. The 7 is posturing, looking, seeing if he can get some sort of a steal. Here comes the crystal. It is going to come down. The 7 trying to do something here, but there's not too many people here, but they managed to get it, and they managed to actually not get the steal. They almost found the parry, but Bear Pit Brawlers are managing to actually get the fight. They get the rejuve, and now they're trying to clean up the Paradox. They get the first kill. 7 trying to get out as much as possible. A big fight going on in the mid-boss. Bear Pit Brawlers going to be losing one of their own. The Dynamo has that rejuve, though, so going to be respawning in about 30 seconds. The fight still going on, but Bear Pit Brawlers are on the losing end of it. The Yamato is here. The 7 managed to stay alive, and they managed to kill almost everybody. And now Bear Pit Brawlers limping away with that one. They still have the rejuve, but at what cost?
There is no way. I mean, that 7 jumped in the middle of everyone, was like 300 HP, got lash ulted, gets cubed, and I was like, all right, well, 7's gonna die, and then it's gonna be over for them, right? Somehow lives, dishes out a ton of damage, and that's while the 7 had 8,000 souls unspent, by the way. I would like to remind everybody, he just bought Lightning Scroll, and he still has 3k souls to his name. He can go Unstoppable next if he wants, and then what are they going to do? He has Lightning Scroll. Lightning Scroll is going to interrupt the Dynamo ult potentially, right? It's going to make it hard for Lash. It's going to make it hard for all these heroes to play the game. And this does not really get better for Bear Pit Brawlers. Now, they have to take the opportunity where they have the rejuve advantage here to try to get a favorable fight and get back into the game, because this is not going to improve for them.
not going to improve. However, they do have a couple areas of play here, and I say that as the Dynamo comes in, and that's about a very big ultimate right on the urn. The Vindicta getting caught all up in there, but no one is actually going down there. The Bear Pit Brawlers just do not have enough damage. The Dynamo goes down, the Shiv goes down, the Infernus goes down already. And Spirit here managed to turn that around, even though it looked like a great engage for the Bear Pit Brawlers as they're trying to clean up the fight now, chasing down the Mirage. Should be going down any time soon, and it looks like the Bear Pit Brawlers yet again limping out of that engagement when it just seemed really good for them at the start.
Yeah, I mean, that black hole was absolutely massive, but there was just no follow-up, right? Like, it looked like Bear Pit Brawlers just weren't quite ready. You know, where's the Lash Slam on top of it? Where's the Infernus ult? Where are all these things? It looks like the heroes on Bear Pit Brawlers were just a little bit too far back. Now, it's hard to say whether Dynamo went too early or whether the side of Bear Pit Brawlers were just, like, a little bit too far back, but, you know, they weren't on the same page there, and there was no follow-up despite it being a 4-man black hole. As we just got a raid from Wander. Thank you, Wander.
Hey, thank you for the raid. I don't know if you caught that while you were talking. Shoddy, he didn't ping it. He typed in lowercase, the Spirit Urn is here. That's what he typed in the chat. I believe that was an all chat too. So I mean, okay, well played. The double Spirit Burn now being purchased for Spirit Urn here on the 7 and the Yamato. These carries are absolutely juiced to the gills. And I don't really see a way for Bear Pit Brawlers to get out of this one other than, I mean, they have their base, they have their Patron, they have their Guardians, they have Dynamo ult, they have Lash ult, they have the tools, but we haven't really seen the execution yet, Deathy.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think the game is going to be incredibly difficult to come back from the side of Bear Pit Brawlers, as they're down a little over 30k, and you know, it's really has snowballed, despite the fact that they got the rejuve. Like, losing that rejuve fight was so bad for them for momentum. And Kelvin buys the new item, Transcendent Cooldown. He wants that cooldown on his items as well. So for those that don't know, Transcendent Cooldown, let's talk about it a little bit. Basically, it's an upgrade from Superior Cooldown. It's a tier 4 item, so it costs 3,400. And, sorry, not 34, 3,200, my bad. And basically it gives you item cooldown now. So item cooldown is no longer obtained by regular cooldown reduction. So regular cooldown reduction, as obtained by like golden statues, for example, it only applies to abilities. And now if you want cooldown reduction for your items, you have to get the upgrade. And the upgrade only gives you an extra 5% cooldown for your abilities. So you're really getting it mostly for the item cooldown.
Yeah.
So interesting item.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that. I saw it existed. I decided, yeah, instead of reading it and knowing more about the game, let's just, you know, not do that. So thank you for enlightening me. That was actually better than I probably could have figured it out. So interesting here. Kelvin, probably one of the characters you would want that on, right? With the healing beam, as well as possibly a couple other items here. So definitely not a bad purchase for Shoddy, as Spirit Urn here, trying to mount up an offense here, siege these turrets down slowly. Might not be so slow as the Yamato and the 7 both on these mid Guardians here. Jeez, that 7 stuns so much damage over here already, just poking people down as these turrets getting lower and lower here, Deathy. I'm scared for the Bear Pit Brawlers. However, they do have a couple shots at this. They are down a lot of money, but if they can get the right Dynamo, the right Lashel, anything really on this 7, maybe on this Yamato early on, they still have a shot at this here.
It's
However,
still possible,
it seems like
but
Spirit
it's not
Urn
going to
just...
be easy.
It's not going to be easy, but, you know, comebacks are possible, and that's what we're all here for in this Emissary Archon League. But it looks like Spirit Urn, I mean, pretty interesting. They're actually playing incredibly patient. They get the mid Guardians, and they only get one of the 2 on the right-hand side, and they're just backing off.
I mean, that's all they need. To be honest, I think this is the correct play, because you've got buffs and Urn spawning very soon, and you just got your last flex slot, right? So you're happy to just back off and buy whatever items you can. You want to buy, get both buffs, get the Urn, and then really you're probably playing for the next mid-boss. And when you get mid-boss, you can end the game. You can always get a pick, right? And look for a swap maybe, but they really don't need to force the issue at all. They can take their time, they can hit their timings. The only thing that I'm worried about a little bit for Spirit Urn is 7's itemization is a little greedy. He didn't go any defensive items really, like he doesn't have a counterspell or he doesn't have an unstoppable. So if he gets Lash ulted, he has Dynamo Black Hold, I mean, he could still die from 100 to 0 pretty quick, right? Like, I mean, he does a lot of damage, but he's not that tanky. And so that's definitely a cause of concern for me.
Not that tanky. And on the side of Bear Pit Brawlers, I mean, They're not all very poor. Nut Monster and Johnny John, I mean, both about 35k. That's definitely not nothing, as they have a decent amount of damage. If there is a good ult, they do have enough damage to probably kill this 7. Maybe not the Yamato, but they definitely can take this 7 out if he makes one wrong step. So a lot of pressure here on Chili Bazelle, but I mean, not the biggest deal, as he is incredibly strong, so it's going to be pretty easy for him to play this fight. As the fight starting on now, Spirit Urn getting the Spirit Urn and getting a great dynamo here. Actually, it's going to be onto the 7, but no, he actually just is taken out immediately, not able to have the damage, and this is what we were worried about, Deathy. Bear Pit Brawlers, they get the engage they need, but they just all got one shot as Johnny John soon to fall, and now the Patron is very surely going to be dropped by Spirit Urn with a great fight.
Well, you know what? You were right. Spirit Urn, they had the easier comp at the end of the day.
There you go.
You know, it's just like the fights, they went their way. It felt like the 7 was unstoppable. I don't know if we got a lot of spirit resist that was built on the side of Bear Pit Brawlers, but this is GG. They have time to end here. You know, they're all still dead for 20 seconds. They should stay. They can end. Guys, please don't leave.
I think you just get in the wave. Yeah, get in the wave. The Yamato
I was
just wants to make
nervous.
sure everything is cleared. Yeah, me too, honestly. I thought,
okay,
someone
guys.
was like calling him back.
Yeah. I'm like, guys, you don't need to go mid-boss. Okay, I get mid-boss to spawn, but you can just end the game. And they do. And, yeah, GGs are called. Well played from the side of Spirit Urn. Some moments of hesitation. Didn't always look the best for them. They did a couple Amazon Prime deliveries of the Urn where they just, you know, gave the Urn to the enemy team. But when the moment they got their first Urn, right, which is the 3rd Urn, it all started going well. They had the momentum on their side. They had the morale buff, as we said, and then they just won the game.
Yeah, you actually called it perfectly. You said as soon as they got that 3rd Urn, that they will buff from this. Even though the lead wasn't very far at that point, they still managed to pull it out in the end, right after they got that 3rd Urn. Keep in mind as well, on those first 2 Urns, even though Bear Pit Brawlers managed to steal them away, the fights were pretty close, and Spirit Urn here managed to get something small out by the end of it. They might have gone down in souls just a little bit, but they still managed to get something in return. So definitely well played from Spirit Urn here, getting those first 3 Guardians early on in the game anyway. As we're seeing the end screen here, and just, oh my goodness, just looking at the stats, I mean, there's too much to even talk about here, so I'll just let you attempt to do it.
Yeah, I mean, some interesting things that jump out to me, right, is the fact that, well, first of all, there's certain heroes that just didn't manage to have enough impact, right? On the side of the Bear Pit Brawlers, right, the damage output that they were able to have in these fights, you know, the spread is not really what you want to see, right? For example, Dynamo, 2nd most damage on his team, like that's really not what you want to see, and a lot of these heroes just weren't able to get the damage output, right? Shiv wasn't able to get his damage out, Lash wasn't able to get his damage out, and these fights just really, like, I think a lot of it just comes down to the execution of these fights, and perhaps the itemization as well, right? Looking at some of these itemizations, like Lash here, full purple but no greens, seems a little sketch. So perhaps, you know, we need to talk about some of these builds, as it definitely did not help them out. On the other side of the screen, we've got a couple interesting things to me. First of all is, like, this Viscous basically full supported. Like, he didn't actually need to do anything this game. You know, like, he didn't have a lot of healing. He pretty much was just kind of there, and that's okay. Sometimes, you know, you don't need to do anything in order to win. But like, the damage from the Yamato 7 and Vindicta combined was just a little bit too much to handle in these fights, even though I think on paper Bear Pit Brawlers had the tools to deal with them. It just didn't play out like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, I mean, check my math, but I'm pretty sure the 3 carries on Spirit Urn had more damage than the entire team for Bear Pit Brawlers, rather. So
yeah, definitely
a great game for them. A lot of damage, a lot of carry potential with those picks here. And hey, I mean, if you're Bear Pit Brawlers, definitely have a lot of things to take from this game for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of people can definitely feel good about how they played. Some people can definitely look to improve some of the things. I think their Dynamo having that top damage, maybe a little bit of a confidence booster for them. Definitely not great for the team, but pretty good Dynamo ults here and there. But they just weren't quite able to find the follow-up for it every single fight that they had them. So not quite going to go in the Bear Pit Brawlers way, but it is all Spirit Urn here. I believe they're 2-0 now. I think they were both 1-0. You mentioned earlier before this game. I mean, yeah, so 2-0 Spirit Urn, looking like the top team so far in this bracket. Hopefully we'll see more of them here Well, not today, but next weekend.
Yeah.
If they can go 3-0, get that bye, get comfortable in this tournament, and they're definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Definitely. Very impressed by them. Looking at their draft, I didn't see the vision right away, but hey, they proved me wrong very quickly. Yeah, so for the next game, they said, thanks, Poshy. So I believe Poshy was their coach. So, hey, the Poshy coaching, it worked out clearly. Not to say that the Bear Pit Brawlers received poor coaching. Obviously, take it with a grain of salt. All the coaches that we have are great. But yeah,
Aren't
for
you
next
their
game,
coach?
I don't think I'm their coach, actually, but maybe I am. I would need to double check, but it's a little hard. I don't have the infrastructure to easily tell who's... well, I have the info somewhere, but I don't have it categorized nicely. So for the next weekend, I'll definitely make sure to have that on hand when we're casting, just like, hey, this team has this coach, and etc. But right now, I can't verify easily. Anyhow, we're going to get an interview very soon with Chill Bezel to talk about, his experience. So I think it's ready anytime. That's correct?
Yeah, I believe it's ready.
Okay. Yeah, we're ready for it as well.
Hello? Okay.
Voice only? All right.
Oh.
So we're
Hey, you guys can hear me?
Oh, hello? Okay.
Oh, what's up?
Can you hear us, Chill Bezel?
Yes, I can.
All right.
Deathy, what's
All
up?
right, yeah, well,
What's
welcome to the
up?
stream. Hey, what's up, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm doing pretty good. I'm happy to be a part of the tournament.
Glad to hear it. Happy to have you. So I've got a couple questions for you, and then I'll let Jord go after. My first question would be, how's the experience been for you so far, with the coaching, with Poshy, with the organized play, versus what you had before with matchmaking? Like, how's the overall experience been?
Oh, I told Poshy, you guys are, gatekeeping information because just one coaching session I already felt 10 times better.
Okay.
It's
That's
and
good.
then
How's it
everyone,
felt like?
Yeah, everyone in the community is great. Everyone's nice. Everyone's trying to have fun. Yeah, it's been a great experience.
That's cool. And how's it felt kind of like moving from just matchmaking to now playing with a team with a bunch of other players? Like, how have you enjoyed that?
I feel like everything that you have in your head is so much more possible to do because you know that you're with people that can help you execute your vision.
Right. That's awesome to hear. So obviously that game, you were on the 7, correct? Unless I made a mistake.
No, I was.
Yeah, you were on the 7. You were popping off. You're doing big damage. Kind of like just unstoppable in these fights. Have you guys been practicing a lot of the 7, or do you want to talk a little bit about how you feel about 7 this patch?
It's actually pretty funny that, we scrimmed for the first time, and I kind of flamed out in every game, and then the one time I get to play 7, I didn't get to play 7 until third scrim in, and we lost.
Okay.
No, matter of fact, for 5 scrims we lost, and then I played 7 in our 6th scrim. And we skunked them out. We did so well, and we didn't scrim again with me playing 7 since then.
Yeah.
But I was telling them I feel like I'm cracked out on 7, and funny enough, when the patch happened, I played a bunch of games on 7. And I was getting cooked, so I was like, "Is 7 not the same? Is he not good?" But I don't know. I was actually scared going into this game.
It's clicking.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I mean, honestly, clearly it looks pretty strong, and I mean, we'll see if we see it in the tournaments. But I think teams might be a little bit scared of your 7 going forward, and maybe we'll see some respect bans. But we shall see. I guess my last question, and I'll leave it up to Jord, would be: are there any teams in the tournament that you guys have played that you think you kind of fear a little bit, or you think are really strong to watch out for?
Nah, they gotta fear us.
Okay. All right, I'll leave it up to Jordan for the questions.
Confident. I only got one question for you. Speaking of confidence here, 0 deaths in there, and if you look at your items, you didn't even need to build any defensives here. No unstoppable, no counterspell. I mean, how are you feeling coming out of that game? What are those thoughts of those choices? Were you just so confident you didn't feel like you needed it? Did you feel like your team had your back with the Viscous Cube? What were you thinking in that game?
So, I actually, because we were on the stream, I actually in the middle, maybe around, I don't know, 20 minutes, I was like, wow, I don't have any defensive items. I bet they're on stream making fun of me. But
Well, I did mention it, but I didn't make fun of you.
No making fun of you. You're too good.
Yeah, yeah.
you know, I bought a Spirit Lifesteal. I was like, that should be okay. I just felt like they weren't killing me. I felt like I had to die before I went into any defensive items, and I was gonna die on that mid boss, but Viscus saved me. Like that was a crazy save.
Yeah, that was actually
So I
insane.
just kept,
That whole mid boss fight was crazy.
yeah, so I just kept going into damage and just trying to help my team eat.
I guess talking about that mid boss fight while we're there is, you know, how were the comms in that mid boss fight? Because obviously, like, that really is the moment that the game like swapped into you guys' favor very significantly. So what were the comms like at that point? Were you guys like super hyped or?
Oh, I mean, we were hyped the whole match. For the mid boss fight, I'm gonna have to ask my team because honestly, I was so locked in. I didn't hear anything. Like I did not expect to be saved or.
Bro was in the zone. He couldn't hear anything outside of just what he was shooting.
Yeah, because I ulted and it got knocked off pretty quickly. So I was at 100 HP and I thought I was dead. But yeah, and then we just turned it around. I saw them fighting downstairs. I got back to like 900 health. I was like, all right, we back in there.
It worked out for you, and I'm not sure if you have any more questions, Deathy, but if not, then maybe you can give us a little shout out before we head out of here, Chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I watch Deathy stream all the time. Love Deadlock. I hope it goes to the moon, and hope we win our next game.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us here for sure.
Thank you for joining us, and good luck in your next game.
Thanks.
All right, and that was it for the interview. So we're going to be going to a short break very soon. And yeah, we'll see you guys very soon for Game 3, which we're going to be back to covering the Phantom Oracle, and that'll be the last game for the day. So stay tuned. Unsure how long the break is going to be, but expect probably 10 to 15 minutes, and I'll be running some ads in the meantime.
Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Death Slam. So today, we're on round 3, so this is the final match of today. We're back with the Phantom Oracle bracket, and we're going to be covering the Compy Crayon Consumers versus the Shopkeepers. So we've already seen the Shopkeepers, we've seen what they're capable of earlier. Both teams right now undefeated, but only one team can come out of this 3-0. Which one will it be? We shall see.
Yeah, Shopkeepers looked really, really strong in the game 1 that we casted for them against steamhappy, I believe. Haven't seen the Compy Crayon Consumers. I think I got that right. That's kind of fun to say. We're going to have to come up with some nickname for them.
You call them
Because there's no
Triple C.
way I'm saying that mid-cast. Triple C,
Yeah.
CCC, call them Compy. I don't know. We'll figure it out all the
Yeah.
way through. I kind of like Triple C. But yeah, see which 2-0 team can come out on top. Question, just because I'm not 100% on this. With the team coming out for the Swiss to get a bye on next weekend, do they have to be 3-0 for that, or is it just based on the amount of teams? So could both these teams come out with a bye because they're both 2-0 right now?
It's very likely that they both come out with a bye still, so there's not actually a lot of stakes. The matchups next week will be based on seeding, right? So technically the biggest advantage of getting first seed is that you're going to guaranteed face the last seed in your first game, right? Well, actually, I guess they're going to get a bye, so you're not going to, but you're going to get the easier side of the bracket, sorry. Just to make that clear, you're going to get the easier side of the bracket, so there's still an advantage. But yeah, it's going to be the top 4 teams that are going to get a bye round. Also, this is kind of like thematic a little bit that we're watching, because I'm fairly confident that Crayon is viewed like watch partying. I'm pretty sure that I saw in his stream title he's watch partying. So, you know, we've got the Compy Crayon Consumers for Crayon to watch. So hopefully they can make him proud with their name, but hopefully they can make me proud because I'm their coach. And we've got a bit of a storyline here because I'm their coach and Ranger is actually coaching the Shopkeepers team, right? So it's a little bit, you know, this is basically going to determine who the better coach is in a way.
Who is the better coach? 2 former teammates, I believe, going back at it, but on a different little playing field here through... I was going to say chess pieces, but I don't want to consider the players chess pieces, but similar type of thing. As we're starting off the draft now, it will be Shopkeepers, I believe, on Amber with that first pick, and Compy Crayon Consumers on Sapphire side, as the bans should be coming any second now.
Yeah, and we'll see how the draft differs. I mean, at this point, not only have both teams played 2 games today, right? But they've also probably watched some of the other teams or seen some of the drafts or seen some of the screenshots or results, etc. And what we like to do, actually, here at Death Slam is we're a big fan of open information, right? So, unlike some other tournament organizers, I'm not going to name any names, but we don't block any of the match IDs. We make all the data public to everyone, including the teams, right? So, at the end of this first day, what we're going to do is we're going to do a data dump. So, my partner, Ref, handles a lot of that. And we're going to give all the teams, we're going to let them know, hey, this was the most banned hero, this was the most picked hero, these are like the hero win rates, like everybody's going to have all the data, and then they can use that into the final weekend to adjust their choices, right? Oh, do we want to ban this hero more? This hero has a really high priority, or like, hey, Shiv has won almost every game. So Shiv is picked right away for Shopkeepers, and Triple C, they respond very quickly with the Pocket Warden. I love the Pocket pick into the Shiv, and I think Warden's just incredibly strong, so it makes a lot of sense so far.
Hey, big spirit dump coming through. Guys, Yamato banned, 2 big characters we've seen kind of either pick or banned all day. And then 3 more characters we've seen picked all day as well. That Shiv getting first pick, so incredibly strong, especially if you have a good Shiv player, which I can't remember if Shopkeepers had a Shiv. I think they did in the first game we played, but I'm not going to bet my life savings on that one. But at the same time, Compy Crayon Consumers with Pocket Warden, I mean, that's a pretty strong dive duo there.
It is, and also the Pocket ult, right? Like the reason to pick Pocket into Shiv is pretty self-explanatory. The ult is a great counter to Shiv because Bloodletting, the way that it works, it defers damage, right? Generally, Pocket ult is non-lethal, but when part of Pocket's ult damage is being deferred, Bloodletting damage is lethal. So it essentially makes Pocket ult lethal against Shiv specifically, and you know, it's generally damage over time is very good. As they'll answer with Mirage 7, so basically so far both teams just opting for full damage drafts at the beginning, right? Not going for the defensive. I think we saw some teams earlier kind of going for that Moan Krill and those other defensive heroes, and most of the time that didn't seem to work out. So here, just going right away for the damage dealers that are strong, like Mirage 7, Shiv, Warden, Pocket. We've seen all these heroes have great performances.
Yeah, Shopkeepers, last time we saw them, they had the same type of philosophy, right? Grab a lot of damage early on and then start to counter things later on in the draft and just run them down and get the win. And we're yet another one, more of a split push kind of damage dealer in Wraith, I believe now. You said more of an M1 carry type of character, I believe you said. Correct me if I'm wrong with that one. But a little bit of M1 damage alongside the Warden, and then full Spirit with that pocket as well. So a good spread for both teams here. I'm not really sure if either one of these has the lead. I think it's going to come down to the last 3 picks for either side.
Yeah, I do find it a bit curious to pick the Wraith here instead of the Infernus. Now, most likely, I believe that it's player preference. Obviously, I am the Triple C coach, and what I can say is that when we created this team, there was a little bit of an issue, and we had to replace one of their players. Now, this actually happened with most teams, by the way. If only you guys knew the logistical nightmare that creating all these teams is. Like, it was definitely a logistical nightmare to create 24 teams with 144 different players and make sure that all their hero pools kind of match and like blah, blah, blah. But to spare you the details, when we replaced their player, they actually ended up not really having like an M1 carry player. And the only one that they had, I think, only played Wraith as far as the M1 carries go. He played a bunch of other heroes, but not carries. So I think that's mostly the reason behind the Wraith pick. McGinnis being banned again, which is interesting. And the Sinclair ban, we haven't seen a lot of Sinclair being touched today, neither banned nor picked, which is very surprising. But banning him makes a lot of sense here.
Yeah, you'd like to think maybe, definitely a strong character, but maybe possibly a target ban. I mean, you would know more than me as to you could have been coaching these teams. And here's yet another M1 carry type character, Haze. Does have that Sleep Dagger, so not really sure exactly the logic behind this pick here, but just a lot more damage, I guess.
I mean, Haze generally is good against Mirage specifically. Now, I don't love the Haze pick here, to be honest. But like, if Haze was like 3rd picked instead of Wraith, it would have made a lot more sense. I think that they need some team fighting. You know what I mean? They need some CC of some sort. They need some strong laners. Now, I'm a little bit worried about their laning stage with Haze Wraith. Haze is a fine laner. Wraith is pretty horrible in lane. So, but at the same time, so far every game we've seen, lose lane, win game has kind of been the theme. So maybe it doesn't matter so much. But I don't love the Haze pick here. I think it leaves a lot of stuff open that you'd like for the side of Compy Crayon, and it looks like Kelvin Viscous is going to be the response.
Oh, there it is.
That's kind of what I was worried about. And now on the side of Compy Crayon consumers, I mean, I feel like their team fight is just going to be significantly worse than Shopkeepers. They've got a lot of big ults, and you've got the Shiv Kelvin. It's going to be really hard to deal with.
They don't really have many options for like a support character too much left. They banned the McGinnis, and there is Ivy open, so maybe they would look to go towards that, I guess, routes. But we'll have to see what they're thinking. The Kelvin Viscous we've seen is definitely very, very strong in the last couple games, especially the last one we saw how strong it is at backing up some of your carries, especially the 7 in particular. We're seeing a little bit of shades of last game with Spiritor and running that Kelvin Viscous, being able to save their 7 over and over again. That basically hard carried the game, but they are going to go with the Dynamo kind of more in that supportive role, but also the Mo and Krill, so they have a little bit of a front line and a little bit of a dive with that Dynamo, Mo, and Krill ults. Pretty interesting here, Deathy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously rounding out their draft, they needed some CC, they needed some front line, right? And they chose Mo and Krill and Dynamo as the answers to those questions. I think it's okay. I don't know if I love the Mo and Krill pick against the enemy heroes. I feel like Shopkeepers has a lot of answers to the Mo and Krill, so I don't really think it's that great. I think the Dynamo definitely has like a lot of potential. There's not a lot of ways to cancel the Black Hole present on the Shopkeepers other than 7 stun, and like 7 stun has a big delay and it's not that consistent, right? And so I think that this Dynamo could really pop off, but we'll see. A lot of it is going to come down to execution. With the Haze, Mo, and Krill combo, if they're roaming around, if they're killing people off of Sleep Daggers, it could be really good. I believe in my coaching session with Triple C, I told them, if you pick Haze, you got to be more active, you got to make more things happen, make more plays happen, etc. Because I think that they're really good players individually, but last time they weren't really making plays together, and that was one of their big weaknesses when I coached them.
We'll see if they can do it this time around. Definitely a very snowball-y comp. If that Wraith, that Warden, that Pocket can get ahead, they can kind of steamroll, I feel like, this game overall. However, Shopkeepers have a very, very safe comp. They have that 7 kind of security there with the Kelvin and Viscous being able to basically bail almost anybody out if they get caught out by one of those Sleep Daggers or a Dynamo or a combo, right? Or even that Wraith ult as well. So lots of pick potential for the Crank consumers. We'll see if they can deal with the Shopkeepers this time around, both 2-0 teams, and we'll see which one comes out on top. 3-0 for the day.
Yeah, And before we start, I'll give a couple quick shout outs. So if you guys would like to support this event, I mean, a great way is just to subscribe, right? Obviously, subscribing helps the channel, which helps me, which helps the event, helps me organize more, right? So if you guys have a Prime sub or anything, feel free to use it on us. We greatly appreciate it, or just regular subs or anything. Other than that, if you'd like to support the event in any other way, whether you would like to volunteer, whether you'd like to contribute to the prize pool, whether you'd like to support the staff, whatever you'd like, feel free to reach out to me on Discord. We're always looking to, see how we can improve the event, and, additional help is always welcome in some capacity. Right now, everybody's a volunteer, right? So everybody's generously donating their time. All the coaches, the casters, the production. We've got a fantastic crew. On this stream, Dia has been the observer, DIA, and Kashi has been the producer, so huge thanks to them. They've done a fantastic job, and for those of you that have watched the previous Death Slams, you know that our production was not at this level. In fact, we didn't have production. We just looked on the website for the draft. It was all on my stream. I was the observer, the producer, the caster. I was everything. Now we've got a wonderful team that helps, organize this. So huge shout out to everybody. Shout out to Ref behind the scenes. Shout out to Daniel and Spark for the bots. We have a lot of things that are automated. Obviously, shout out to George for taking the time with me today. And yeah, I can't name everybody, but thank you to everyone.
Wait, so I'm not getting paid?
Well, we'll discuss that after the stream. We don't have to bring it up. No.
Hey, I can get paid in one compliment. That's all I want.
You're
all right,
doing
it doesn't
great.
have to be about my gameplay. I thank you. I'll take
Yeah.
that. That's all I need right there. I appreciate
Yeah,
that
there you
one.
go.
Deathy.
Yeah, of
I
course.
appreciate. Thank you for the shout outs
can
there,
frame that.
and you set yourself up for success here, because now instead of being caster, observer, tournament organizer, now you can just be a pro yapper.
Yeah, now I can
Right?
just yap.
Now you
It's
can
great.
just yap about anything you want,
It's
and you
fantastic.
can just chill out on stream. It's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
you probably got to help out on the sidelines a little bit here, but
Yeah, I'm just doing a
Speaking
little bit
of-
of work, but I'm mostly
yeah,
chilling.
yeah. Speaking of the sidelines, we should be getting ready here. We're just waiting on these players to get ready for the game, so don't go anywhere. We are still loading in here for the third and final game of today. So thank
Yeah.
you again for all the viewers here for tuning in. We got a lot of viewers here for essentially a tier 2 league and a tier 2 tournament. So very, very big stuff. Very, very big for the Deadlock community. So appreciate all you guys for tuning in and hanging out with us.
Yeah, really appreciate it. And also, make sure to follow the V stream, so Death Slam events, right? So there's also the Death Slam League. For those that aren't familiar with it, basically the Death Slam tournament is kind of like a funnel where if players like their team and they want to continue, they can join the league to then play. And we cast some of those matches with different casters. We basically use the Death Slam League to give opportunities to casters that have no experience, right? To observers that are less experienced, maybe even producers in the future. I want to use the league in order to give opportunities to a bunch of people that want to get practice, and want to practice doing all that stuff, and also to give just more exposure to different Deadlock players and just give fun content. So make sure you follow the stream. It's the pinned comment, twitch.tv/DeathSlamEvents. So you can keep up to date with everything happening there. As far as the Death Slam tournaments, those will always be on my stream as well. But yeah, we should be ready very shortly to get into the game. What's your prediction here?
I am 2 for 2. Actually, I'm 1 for 1 technically, because I don't think I predicted the first game.
Okay.
But we'll just say I'm 2 for 2 for now. I'm gonna go with Shopkeepers. They showed how good they were in that first game, and
Yeah.
I actually do think this comp is just way better. I mean, correct me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong, but I feel like it kind of just seems like a no-brainer. Their characters just seem very, very sound. They work together well. We saw how strong the 7 with a little bit of support can be this patch.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was more of the Emissary Archon League, but I mean, it's not too different in skill level here, just a tier above in this
Yeah.
Oracle Phantom League here. So I'm gonna give it to the Shopkeepers.
That's a very fair decision. No, I have my hands tied a little bit. I'm the coach of the Triple
Your
C
coach.
team. I gotta go with them. I gotta believe in my boys. I think that they'll bring it home. They may have the worst draft, but they have the skill. Okay, they'll be able to win it, and that's because I taught them all my secrets. And since I taught them all my secrets, they will know how to win this game, despite their draft being significantly worse than the Shopkeepers. Now, I'm trying to be positive, right? They've got some things going for them. Dynamo's always the X factor in these games. You never know. He might pop off against some big ults, right? I'm not too confident about the Wraith. We'll see the performance. But, I think that they've got some things in store for us. And I think that they have a lot of really good Warden players. So if Warden pops off, I mean, it could go well for them. So it's not impossible. And we've seen a lot of surprises today. So, hey, I believe.
Anything can happen in the Death Slam tournament /league/everything that we got going on here over on the Deathy channel. And speaking of Deathy secrets, if you watching right now want to learn them as well here, I mean, this is Phantom Oracle, so if you're hovering around that rank, Emissary, Archon, Phantom Oracle, you have one of those ranks, you can join. So definitely check out the Discord, should be linked in the chat, should be linked in the description, and you can join in the next edition of this series. So definitely keep an eye out for that. But we're finally now getting into the game, and the players are all ready.
Yep. I believe I'm not. Are you getting sound? Oh wait. Okay, here we go. All right, we got the sound.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay. Yep. And as always, we're gonna give it a sec just to make sure that all the player names are correct. So we're not gonna go over the rosters yet. But as far as the lanes go, we've got the Warden Haze. So this is a pretty interesting combo, right? Because Warden Haze is basically, it combos in two ways. One, you're stacking minus stamina in a lane, because Warden Flask removes stamina as well as Haze Dagger now when you put some points into it. And two, you have the Sleep Dagger Cage combo, right? So if you sleep someone, you can then cage them. And so it's a good setup for the cage. And right away from minute one, they're already applying the pressure, right? And so I gotta believe in the Compy Crayon Eaters. The Compy Crayon consumers.
Yeah, I mean, basically, same more little synonym there. I believe the overlay is correct, so we can go over the team now if you do want. I guess I can start with what I chose to win, the Shopkeepers. We will have Stardust here on the Kelvin, Turv on the 7, Pyroham back on the Viscous. He was on that game 1. Joey Lemons on the Mirage, Alendili on the Calico, and Solemn on the Shiv.
Yeah, and on the side of Compy Crayon consumers, we've got Pop-Tart Strudels, making me hungry on the Dynamo, Ethurgic on the Warden, Bracoin, which is the newest cryptocurrency, of course. No, I don't know. On the Wraith, Delayed on the Pocket, Cypher on the Haze, and Caden_un on the Moon Krill.
And already seeing some trading here on both sides. Joey Lemons and Pyroham looking both incredibly low. They are on that left side lane that you were talking about so much. That could be very aggressive. That Haze Warden, that double sleep, that double stam drain lane, you know, you have so much synergy in that lane. It is still a Viscous that has that healing. They have that utility in order to get out. I don't know if it's enough here as the Warden looking for this damage, already putting them so incredibly low. The tower is starting to get chunked almost at a core, 3/4 health just early on. It's only 2.5 minutes in. I mean, pretty strong start for the Compy Cram Munchers.
Yeah, I mean, this lane is definitely, like, I think that they have to get momentum on these heroes if they want to win. So, considering the draft deficiency, it's a good start for them here, but they really have to be able to, you know, get something out of it, right? Because even though they've got a lot of damage, they don't actually really have, like, a soul lead in this lane. So, if they don't convert to any kills off of this pressure, it's not actually gonna matter at the end. So, we'll see how it goes. But Pyroham, right as we, you know, this is the classic Observer curse, right? I got this happen.
Curse.
It's the caster curse, the Observer curse. I had this happen to me all the time. You just switch off their camera, instantly they die. I mean, what can you do?
Yeah, so actually in the other game I cast, without talking too much about it, I actually am known for the biggest caster cursor in the scene. Every time I talk about anything, the opposite happens right away. It's all the time. It's a little bit ridiculous, actually, so I'm surprised. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised I've been correct so many times as is. Maybe the curse has left me going into deadlock, but as I say that, a little bit of fighting over in the mid lane here. Kelvin going a little bit low. It looks like the Compy Cram Munchers have the more aggressive lanes that we talked about earlier. They do have a good snowball comp, so see if they can extend this lead, but one kill I think is going to be quite enough here.
Yeah, and you know, so far a little quiet. Other than that Warden Haze lane where they've got a lot of pressure, most of the other lanes are mostly stalemating here. As Calico takes a little trade with Wraith. Now, technically, this is where the side of Shopkeeper should look to strike back, right? Because they've got Calico 7 into Wraith Mo. Now, this really should be a favored lane for them, right? Because Wraith Mo, I mean, I can't really think of a lot of weaker lanes than Wraith Mo. They don't really do anything. They have 0 kill pressure, really, on you. And so I would love to see Shopkeepers be a little more aggressive in that lane. But so far, it doesn't really look like they're winning that lane either, being a little bit on the back foot. And Viscous is 1 HP again, by the way, after dying. And the tower is taking so much damage.
It's actually going to go down here as Viscous had to retreat back to the base, got way too low, and now the tower already gone. Mirage now jumping in, has the Viscous cube coming in here, maybe help them out, has the tornado to get out.
Oh my god, wait.
The ult here from the Warden almost taking him down.
Doing the tech. Did you see what he was doing
Okay,
there?
well, explain it. I did not see it. Was he
Okay,
extending
okay.
the range of it or something?
Yeah,
Explain
he's
it,
extending
explain
the
it.
range of it. So basically, Warden ult is a triangle shape, right? And for the geometry bros out there, basically, if you look to the side, it actually goes further than if you just look straight ahead, right? So if the target is right ahead of you, if you look to the left or to the right, you'll actually extend your range. So Mirage looked like he was out of range, but a Thurgic turned to the left, and that was, I mean, that's pretty compy, if I gotta say. Now, I'm against the word compy, generally speaking, but that deserves a compy, compy mention.
I agree. Thanks for sharing that little bit of wisdom here. And as you were kind of talking about it, we're seeing a little bit of a fight going out on that right-hand side. A great combo coming out from Caden on the Compy Crank Consumers, getting a kill on to the 7. And also, they both got double buffs. I believe Compy Crank Consumers got both the buffs. And now they're getting all the kills as we're seeing the Viscous go down, Stardust on the Kelvin going down. It looks like they're starting to really snowball this lead here, and they're going to be working on this middle tower here.
Yeah, I mean, Shopkeepers may have won the draft, but the Compy Crown Consumers, I said so. They've got the skill, and they're showing it in the laning stage. Why, they're showing the teachings. They're making me proud out there, as they've already got 2 Guardians to their names 6 minutes in. And, unfortunately for Shopkeepers, they don't really have any damage on any of the Guardians.
Yeah, not too much pressure coming in from the Shopkeepers. Your comp can be good, but if you're not playing well, or you're not extending your lead and keeping up, then it's not really going to matter. As we see on the left side, the Viscous starting to get a little bit of pressure onto the Warden, trying to get some space, but it's not really going to amount to too much here. 3 members of the Compy Crank Consumers on the left, or rather right side of the map, just to keep that one in check. That probably was the only side of the map that was going well for the Shopkeepers, that Calico 7 lane somehow. So we'll see if they can do something about it. A great Sleep Dagger comes in, a gank from Hayes, trying to get a little bit of pressure onto this Calico, gets a lot of damage and forces them to back off, but no kill is going to be coming in here just quite yet. The Kelvin rotating, trying to go and support the squad on the right-hand side, who are having a backup as the Mo is diving in, finds the combo onto the Calico, but there's no support for it, no damage, so they're not quite able to find the kill. But as I say that, he jumps in and he gets the 7, finds the kill on to Turv on the 7, and puts the Calico so incredibly low, and now they're posturing to get yet another tower.
Okay, I mean, someone's got to stop the Compy Crown Consumers. I mean, they're this Mo and Krill is he's got
Demon.
aura. He's going in, and he's going past the Guardian, 1v2ing them. Pyroham going down yet again. I mean, this is a complete disaster start for Shopkeepers, unfortunately. And Compy Crayons are just have all the momentum. They have all 3 Guardians, their first flex slot, 6k lead as well. And it's looking really good for them. But so far, it's been lose lane, win game. Is it going to be the same this game?
That's true. We have seen lose lane win game basically the entire day so far. And, it is just this, I mean, it's hard to say just a 6 or 7k lead when it's only 8 minutes into the game, but it's not the end of the world, right? They still have their walkers, right? That's a plus. They have their walkers.
That's true.
They looking cool. They might have lost their 7 just now, yet again, another gank going on to Compy Crank Consumers, who are just so active on this map right now. And they're just not trying to let Shopkeeper breathe whatsoever.
Look at Popstar Trudels. He's in the jungle, looking to steal the Sinner Sacrifice.
Oh my gosh.
And, I mean, have you ever seen a Dynamo with, like, he's just walking into the enemy jungle, just taking the Sinner Sacrifice in front of them? He does not care at all. And, this is one thing that I've told a lot of teams, is, like, prioritize these Sinner Sacrifices. When you're ahead, you want to suffocate the enemy. You want to make sure that they can't get any resources, right? You want to steal their jungle, and you want to play on their side of the map for the most part, but be efficient. And, I was worried about Compy Crayon Consumers because they had Dynamo and Wraith and Hayes and Mo and Crow. Like, realistically, they don't really have strong laners. Like, Shopkeepers have a better laning draft, but just through sheer laning skill, they've managed to get an 8k lead in just 9 minutes.
Yeah, a little bit of a lead, and it looks like they're trying to extend that even further, collapsing now on this right-hand side, but it looks like Shopkeepers are wise to it, and they back off just in time with that Viscous and that Kelvin, putting that Guardian a little bit lower, so definitely getting something for themselves. They're trying to stall the bleeding just a little bit. The 7 Sun now coming in onto the Haze here, who gets hit by it, looking incredibly low, is getting chased in here, and actually might just go down, pops the ult, but it's not going to be doing much. A Cypher on the Compy Crank Consumers goes down, and that's going to be Shopkeepers with, I believe, their first kill of the game. But hold on here, it looks like Compy Crank Consumers are answering yet again on the left-hand side. Joey Lemon's going to be going down now to a Thurgic.
Yeah, and Thurgic is looking really fed on this Warden, already 10k net worth, and he's going to be a problem this game. And, when you have a Warden that's fed, it's very, very difficult to deal with. And if you remember when we went over the comps, I was like, hey, if this Warden gets fed, could be a bit of a problem, right? And right now we have that happening. Dynamo with the black hole onto the Viscous. Viscous goes down instantly. Pyroham not having a great game. That's probably, I don't know exactly, but that's probably his third or fourth death. Unfortunately, his laning stage was not ideal, and Urn and buffs just spawned.
Urn and buffs just spawning, and the pressure is still mounting onto Shopkeepers as the 7 goes down yet again here, and Mirage is soon to follow, getting down and having to tornado backwards now. It does not have many places to go, getting sprinted down by the M1 carries. The Warden, the Haze, they're just doing way too much damage. The Mirage can try all he wants. Joey Lemon's going to be going down yet again for Shopkeepers, and Compy Cran Consumers are just not letting up on the gas whatsoever. They have all of the Guardians, or rather, they have all the Guardians, and now soon they're going to be pushing towards this Walker as the Urn is up, so maybe they'll try for that as well.
Yeah, I believe that the saving grace for the side of Shopkeepers, I believe this should be a comeback run right now, but they're not really prioritizing picking it up as Calico's diving onto the Haze here, looking to get the kill. Gets the initial hit of the ultimate. The second hit does not connect because she was in the air, and Haze gets away with 1 HP. That's actually crazy. And, you know, if you're Shopkeepers, you're on a timer here because the longer you wait, so I don't know if you know about the first comeback run, but it's a 15% deficit, right? If you know anything about math, the higher the number, the bigger, like, 15% becomes, you know what I mean? So right now, like, a minute ago, it might have been a comeback earn. But as time progresses, it's going to be harder and harder for this earn to be considered a comeback. And then when it becomes neutral, it's not really an option for Shopkeepers anymore because Compy Crayon's consumers are so far ahead.
So far ahead, but a little bit of a strike back here. Shopkeepers managed to get this tower with the help of the 7 ult, but the strike back here, a Thurgic on the Warden comes in with the ult. The Pocket comes in to clean up the Calico, and they get a kill on the back foot of that play. So they do lose a Guardian off that. They still have one more, though, so the flex slot is still being saved as the Urn getting carried by the Compy Cran Consumers as well. Shopkeepers managed to get a Guardian, but now they're going to lose that Urn control, and all they can really do is mount a defense.
Yeah, and it looks like the side of Compy Crown Consumers got the Haze. I'm being informed Joey Lemons is a TF2 player in Invite, but Highlander, so, I mean, you know, much love to the TF2 players out there. That's where I come from. Haze secures the Urn from Compy Crown Consumers. Joey Lemons going down as we were talking about him, unfortunately. And, you know, the Triple C squad is looking to keep up the pressure and really, like, convert their momentum. And this might be the first time that we see win lane, win game, as they just keep the lead going this whole time.
It's how the game should be played here. You win your lane, you snowball, and you win the game. Compy Cran Consumers doing... We haven't really seen a team with Urn here is when they have control, push forward, start pushing the enemy team out of the zone, give a lot of space for your Urn carrier to actually dump that in so they don't have, you know, they're not getting punched over and over again, which we saw a lot last game. A lot of stalling there. Not able to happen for the Shopkeepers, who just got absolutely pushed back and lost a man of their own. The lead now is about 12k for the Compy Cran Consumers, and with the 13 minutes being the timer, that is quite a bit for this stage in the game. So the Shopkeepers need to find some way to come back into this one.
Yeah, Warden, 15k net worth here, and only keeps going. A Thurgic looking to take this one home for his team, the Compy Crown Consumers. If they win this, 3-0, and that is a very, very good record. And, you know, they're guaranteed first or second seed if they win this one. So, you know, you definitely want to be on the higher seed because you'll get the easier matchups, and you'll also get a guaranteed bye round. So, you know, 13 kills to 1 right now. That's actually crazy. Only 1 kill, Ellen Dilly. So nothing really has been going in the favor of Shopkeepers so far. All these engages have been going in the favor of Compy Crown Consumers. And now, you know, maybe Ranger taught them well how to draft, but maybe I taught them how to play better.
Hey, maybe as the play and a little bit of the trash talk coming, and I'm liking it, Deathy. Giving a little bit of stakes here to the match, adding some fun to it as you're talking about the Compy Cran Consumers kind of being at the lead right now, having all the kills, 13-1, and it makes sense because they've been pushing the plays all game. They've been pushing every single play and catch that has happened so far, and now Alendili in the box room in the middle, gonna be getting a little bit of extra money, a little bit of bad luck there actually. I think there was only like 1 or 2 boxes that popped out souls, so a little bit unlucky there, but not the end of the world. The 7th Son coming in trying to get one more catch onto the pocket, but it is a pocket, so it's going to be very, very hard to actually get that kill. Looks like the Kelvin is still on him, but we're not going to really see if that comes to fruition. Elendily actually somehow going down over, I believe, on the mid lane here. Compy was finding a pick of their own wall. The Shopkeepers were busy with the pocket, delayed, doing his namesake, delaying as long as possible. And it looks like with Urn coming up, the Shopkeepers are set to turn this, or not turn in, rather, grab this Urn right off the bat. But the Compy Crankstreamers are starting to collapse into this right now. The Wraith pushing the wave, and now we see people running into the Shopkeepers. The Dynamo needs to be careful. He has the ultimate. The Wraith ult comes out the 7 looking incredibly low. He cannot find an ultimate. He gets picked off right away. The Viscous doing as much as he can to cause some chaos in the back, but no, they can't do anything. Shopkeepers are forced to leave.
Yeah, and this is going to be, the Urn is going to be on the side of Shopkeepers, right? So that's kind of the saving grace, but Solum goes down, and so right now, Compy Crayon consumers have the map pressure everywhere, as Thurgic was split pushing. He used his ultimate, I believe, to get Solum, and now 2 people on him, as he's just going to be backing up, but this entire time, Compy Crayon consumers are just farming the entire map, pushing every lane, and getting in position for this Urn, and I just don't really see how Shopkeepers can defend this, but they kind of have to try, because if they give up the Urn here, it's going to be really bad for them.
Have to try, but it looks like they're not even positioning for it. There's 2 members here, but there's 4 for the Compy Crank consumers, so they need to be careful not to get overwhelmed here as Solum is respawning here. Pyroham using that Q, but a great Dynamo. It's going to be a 3-man with the pocket there too. Going to be enough to clean it up. The 7 ult comes in, but it's a little too late as the combo is going to be more than enough to shut that one down, and that's 4 for 0 for the Compy Crank consumers and an Urn turn in.
Damn. I mean, I don't want to call it too early, but this is looking exceptionally grim for the side of Shopkeepers as Compy Crown consumers take their momentum and they take it straight down into the tunnels, into the sewers, pardon me, which, you know, what do we think, guys? What if we made mid-boss a giant rat? But that's my idea. You know, because right now it's just like,
to change for a long
it's just
time.
a goo, right? But it's just like, nobody likes the current mid-boss, right? But like, what if it's a rat? Because like, now they're full on with the sewer theming, and I'm assuming that this is pretty final art, and so I feel like a rat makes a lot of sense. But the Compy Crown consumers have slain the rat, and now they're looking to put an end to the game.
Going to put an end to the game, and hey, what if stay with me on this one. Instead of the rejuve being a crystal, it's a big thing of cheese.
Yes, we need that.
Huh?
No, I agree.
You in that one? Okay, all right. Maybe we can workshop this one.
Yeah,
Yoshi, if you need any ideas, I got you. All right.
Yoshi, I mean, look,
idea man here.
all I'm gonna say is one phone call and it's done. All right, one phone call and it's in the game. So
it will be in the game as Shopkeepers looking almost like they're 1 foot out of the door, but that doesn't mean they're done playing quite yet. They are still 2-0, so they do still have a little bit of confidence going in here. The Moan Crew with the Magic Carpet coming in, actually playing with them a bit, having a little bit of fun this game. Looking for maybe a combo onto the Shiv, but no, he's just having fun. He's just dancing on him. Full confidence onto Caden over on the Compy Crank consumers. There was no reason for that play other than maybe to zone him off a little bit for that Walker. And now it's going to be Compy Crank consumers running everybody down. Joey Lemons and Elendily having to back up all the way to their spawn, looking incredibly low. And with the Kelvin being by himself on that right side Walker, it looks like he's going to be next on the chopping block.
Yeah, I just want to say I didn't teach Caden to do that on Moon Curl, right? But I did teach him to do this. Goes onto the Kelvin, grabs him instantly, and gets the kill. I'm going to take credit whenever they do something good. I'm not going to take credit whenever they do something bad, obviously, as every coach says.
Awesome.
It's mandatory. Yeah, that was great. The Magic Carpet under the Walker, I mean, it was awesome in its way, but, you know, a little BM, but there's nothing wrong with that. Adds a little fun to the game. As they're going to back up here. Wraith almost has enough to buy a tier 4, and I mean, I don't really see the saving grace for Shopkeepers. If I'm being extremely optimistic, the way that this has to go down if they want to win a fight is they need to get, like, they need to somehow not get hit by a big black hole. They need to get, like, a big 7 ult, and they need, like, basically a big 7 ult, a big viscous ball, and they need the Shiv to kind of live and execute multiple people, but because the Calico just needs to go for full space creation, right? Because she's extremely, like, weak. She has 11k. So at this point, you just go, like, full greens. Just create space for your team. You're not going to kill anyone. So just try to buy space for your other heroes to do something and hopefully maybe win a fight.
Yeah. Winning a fight would be ideal. Not quite sure how they can do it. I think the only thing I can come up with my Phantom level game knowledge is someone disconnecting on the side of CompuCran Consumer.
That would be
I don't
good.
see another way to do that, as Turv already taking the brunt of it. The Pocket just hunting this 7, and not really much he can do, as the Viscous on the other end now on the left-hand side, trying to defend the Walker with the ball, but there's only so much you can do with the combo, locking him in place. And now with the Kelvin Dome, all you can really do is stall, as it is a 6v4 with a rejuve up. I would expect Shopkeepers to back up and just give this, and yes, they will do just that, but no, not until it looks like the Magic Carpet Mo coming in again for round 2, and a big Dynamo. That's another 3-man, and it's going to be completely wiping the Shopkeepers off the map. Stardust is the last one to follow, and that's going to be a full ace, and most likely the game for the CompuCran Consumers, or at least a patron drop.
Yeah, that's... I mean, I have no words to say right now. CompuCran Consumers, we thought that they had the worst draft, and to be honest, I still think they had the worst draft, but 20 minutes into the game, they're already looking to end this one. And this is really just like a execution diff. Like, at the end of the day, CompuCran Consumers, they're just executing at a level that seems to be higher than any other team we've seen so far this tournament, right? Remind you guys, this is the Phantom Oracle bracket. This is the highest bracket of the tournament. And, you know, both of these teams are 2-0, right? Shopkeepers, we saw them earlier do really well. They're not a bad team at all. They're definitely one of the stronger teams, but CompuCran Consumers right now is not making them look very good, but that's just because they're playing so well.
I mean, when you're up 8k in 8 minutes, I think it was like 15k in 13 minutes, there's not really much you can do as the other team, except for hope the other team makes a mistake. Not many mistakes coming out of here from CompuCran Consumers. A couple little missteps here or there, but nothing they couldn't recover from, especially with some multiple individual 10k leads on certain players, like a Thurgic being 28k on a Warden. That's the last thing I want to see, especially before, you know, I have nightmares of that, basically. Right. Warden, probably one of my least favorite characters in the game. Seeing him this strong makes me a bit scared. Not just for this game, but just in general. I'm actually having goosebumps right now. I really hate looking at this. So hopefully they can finish this off soon, so I don't have to look at it anymore, as the Shopkeepers trying to still do something, though, Deathy. I mean, Calico looking to make some space, has the Viscous looking for some help, but it looks like all the camps are just getting consumed by the Consumers.
Yeah, I mean, the Consumers are doing great. They're doing exactly what I tell them is like, hey, if you got a lead, you got to suffocate them, right? We talked about this earlier, and now they're in their jungle just trying to get stuff. Pocket kind of messes up a little bit, but hey, it doesn't really matter. They're so far ahead that you can get away with a little bit of shenanigans. And I mean, the Shopkeepers, they're trying to get anything going, but like you said, I mean, at this point, they're down 50,000 souls almost, 45,000 to be exact, and when you're down 45,000 souls, I mean, you know, your Mirage, you have 17k, you're fighting a 27k Wraith. I mean, she's got literally like almost 2 tier 4 items more than you. What do you do at that point? It seems just, you know, kind of hopeless. And I would like CompuCran Consumers to just pick up this urn and like just force the issue, because I don't see them losing a fight.
Yeah, I think they're honestly playing almost too careful. I mean, they're waiting for the urn, they're trying to relax, but they didn't even get it. Shopkeepers managing to grab it, spawn. A little bit of lazy from the CompuCran Consumers here, maybe a little bit overconfident. They're kind of just vibing out in their call, a little happy winning so hard, but with the urn turn-in being so close, they have a chance to get it here, but it looks like the Mo and Krill is already in position. The Wraith, the Haze, everybody is starting to collapse for Shopkeepers, or rather for the CompuCran Consumers, as the Dome tries to buy enough
they get
time.
the urn.
But they actually got the urn. What? They get the urn, but will it matter? The Dynamo comes in, not going to be getting anything. And the Shopkeepers, did they get away with murder? They're getting chased out all the way to their base. Pyroham going down, Elendily going down, Turvy going down, Stardust probably going to be following Joey Lemons. They got away with the robbery, but it's not going to get them anywhere but a lost screen, as the CompuCran Consumers will be taking this.
The world has been changed, says the Thurgic, as he stands on top of Mount Olympus after having slain the Shopkeepers. And, well, unfortunately, Shopkeepers are going to be 2-1 after this, and CompuCran Consumers 3-0. Congratulations to them. This was the last game of the day. And so, yeah, we're going to look at the scoreboard. We're probably going to move into an interview, and then afterwards, we'll look to see if the B stream still has a game going on, which they might. And if so, we'll probably raid them and go check that out.
Yeah, now we can attempt to talk about what just happened, because, I mean, that was just an utter slaughter, kind of from the beginning. The first couple minutes looked pretty even back and forth, but you mentioned the lanes being slightly weaker, but they didn't make it look like that at all. The superior laning knowledge, and maybe some of the lane pairings even, I think were superior for the Triple C team, managing to come out on top of that early game. And the first time we've seen today, Deathy actually snowball their lead into a victory. So congrats to them, showing us how show everybody in the whole league here how it can be done, or tournament rather, how it can be done.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, I mean, Shopkeeper's still, I mean, maybe not looking great this game, but looked great in their first game, won the second game we didn't see, still 2-1. I mean, most likely they will still get a top 4 seed, so definitely can't count them out too much for this whole tournament.
No, for sure. I mean, I think Shopkeepers, you know, they looked good for a lot of the tournament. Now, this game, unfortunately, cannot say the same for this game, right? We've got a few heroes that have, like, I mean, how many kills? I mean, Shopkeepers have 1 kill. They have 1 kill.
It was the 1 kill from like 6 minutes in when they caught the haze. That's what that 1 kill was.
They got 1 kill. So, I mean, here's the thing. Triple C, I'm your coach, and we're going to talk. Cypher, what the hell, man? You got 1 death? We need to talk about that. But anyway, like, nothing went the way of Shopkeepers. This wasn't like a 1-person issue, right? This wasn't just like 1 person of Shopkeepers played bad. This wasn't like, this was just systematically every lane had no momentum going forward right from the beginning. The lead was too much. They weren't able to get anything back into the game, and it just kept snowballing. And everything that they tried to do, they got some objectives, but they were never able to win a fight ever, which, given their comp, is a little bit surprising. And I think Ranger's got his work cut out for him here as far as the coaching goes, because this game really should not have went down the way it did, for sure.
Yeah, and with these teams being newer, right? They're not necessarily not like they've been playing together for years or anything. They've been playing together for, I mean, at most like a couple weeks, I think it is.
Not even. It's been like
a week or 2.
It's been like 5 days for these teams.
5 days, so not even a week. So I mean, you gotta cut them some slack, right? It's the first real time they're playing together, minus a couple scrims. And usually, even teams that have played together for a long time, when you lose that hard lane and you start to get down, it's really hard to come back in the comms perspective and just a morale perspective. It really is a real thing for anyone that's played on a competitive esports team, or just any sports team in general. Once you bad early on, it feels impossible to come back, even though you might have the tools for it. So no shame to Shopkeepers there. This is only for seeding, and they still got 2 wins overall. So well played to them for today on this tournament, but it is going to be the big winner for the Phantom Oracle bracket, the Triple C gamers, the consumers, the eaters, the conquerors. I don't even know what to call them at this point. They're everything sense. Because
they're just all-encompassing. And also,
they're all-encompassing.
We should be getting it would be better, because then they can consume it too.
I'm excited to talk to one of them, too.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be a great interview because, like I said, these guys didn't have an M1 player, right? And they picked the Wraith for comfort. And, like, these guys were a little bit worried about not having an M1 player. Like, when we got their replacement, they really asked for someone that could play M1 heroes. And, unfortunately, we did not get them one because we didn't have one to give them, essentially. And I felt bad because I was like, man, we didn't get them an M1. Maybe we screwed up their hero pools a little bit. You know, maybe they're going to do bad, but showing that at the end of the day, maybe hero pools aren't like the end of the world. Maybe if you can't play a lot of the M1 heroes, it's not the end of the world, because you're just so good at every other hero that you can just, you know, go 3-0 in the Swiss stage. Now, there's something to consider. No team that has gone 3-0 in the Swiss stage has ever won the tournament. So there's a little bit of a curse, basically.
Interesting.
Where the first place usually goes like middle of the pack in the tournaments. So now your first place, you're everyone's target, right? So we'll talk a little bit. We'll interview Ethergic, which is a long-term. I've known Ethergic for a very long time. So yeah, we can get him in whenever. I think he's going to be ready in a sec. Hello, Ethergic. Can you hear us?
Hello, I can hear you.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hello.
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
We're doing good. Thank you. We just watched you guys absolutely wipe the floor with the enemy team. Only 1 kill. Now I want to talk about a little something, which is, you know, how has the experience been for you so far with this team, especially considering you guys had to get someone replaced. You didn't have an M1 player, right? Like, I was a little worried. There seemed to be a lot of initial issues, but like right now you guys are 3-0. So how's it been?
So I'm not gonna lie, I was very, very concerned at the beginning. We have a member called Brooklyn. He said he could play any hero, and I was very doubtful. I'm like, how can you play every hero? And then he has like 13 games on Mirage, and he's played 2 games on Mirage for this tournament, and he's just been performing so well. He's done so good on the M1. Cypher was a Paradox main. He's picked up the Haze. He's done so well. It's just awesome.
Well, it's good to hear. So, I mean, you know, sometimes some players, when put under the pressure, you know, they just perform and they just learn new heroes. And like I told you guys, I think I remember telling you guys this when I coached you, like, hey, some of these heroes are pretty easy to learn, you know.
Yeah.
So if you're a good player, you can learn them. Now, what would you guys say has been like the biggest differentiator between you and the other teams as far as like why you're 3-0 right now? What do you think like sets you apart?
I think we got lucky in a couple of the drafts, but more so we were very committed to scrim each day. So we scrimmed for the first 3 days that we had the team together, at least when we had the full 6. And from that, we were able to like learn what we need to work on, find like, oh, we can't play these characters. These are the characters we need to work on, that type of thing.
Okay, so you know, practice, basically getting the reps in, you know, being critical. How are the team vibes after being 3-0 today? Were people hyped? Like, how was it feeling?
It was. I had to deafen for a second because it was quite loud. But we were very excited. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, if you had to deafen, I'm assuming that you guys were extremely excited, which is always awesome to see. I'll let Jord go in with a couple questions if you got any.
Yeah, sure. A couple. Speaking of how hype it was, you know, I was going to ask about the comms, right? About kind of the shot calling, how all that works with the team dynamic. Newer teams coming in probably haven't played too many of these players before, I would assume. Who on your team would you say is the shot caller, if you have any, or is it kind of like a more all-around effort? You know, I see some big Dynamo, some big Mo combos. Are those players yelling a lot, or what's going on in the comms?
So I'd say it's definitely more of a group effort. I generally call like the buffs. I call like, hey, this is like what we want to do, and then we have our Mo player, Caden. He calls for his own plays. It's like, hey, Wraith, let's look up here, and they get a combo. We go up a pick, and I'm okay. We're up a player. That's awesome. And then our Dynamo player, Pop Dart, is awesome. He just stands by the sidelines like, hey guys, I'm gonna look for an ult, and then he just comes in, warp stones, 3-man, and we just won the fight. It's great. But overall, it's very much a dispersed calling style in terms of everybody else is calling equally. There's a little bit of like me and Delayed, I'd say, are the shot callers if you could have any, but like it's very much a group effort.
Okay, love to hear that group effort, kind of spreading the love, spreading the responsibility, right? And then I just have one more question for you, a little bit of a fan question here. I think everyone wants to know. Well, actually, two things. One, shout-outs, but after you let me know. Has the world been changed?
The world has been changed. I looked at the world and I said, the world has been changed. It was so different. I can't even describe how. It was just so different.
Beautiful. Well, any shout-outs you have before we get you off the call?
I'd like to shout Division and the Random Epic, aka Username. Those two have helped us with all of our macro and our builds, especially. We had a couple of interesting builds starting out, and now I feel like we're much more disciplined with how we build and how we play. It's awesome.
Well, you guys have literally defeated the Shopkeeper, so like
that's true.
True.
You know, it clearly has to be the builds. But anyway, thank you so much for your time at Thurgic. Thank you for your participation in the tournament as well. We greatly appreciate it. Everyone say, you know, thank you in the comments as well for Thurgic in the chat. As we're gonna wrap up this interview. So that was the last game for the day. As far as for the future, now I've got a few things to say before we close off for the day. First of all, the final day of the tournament is next week, Saturday, June 12th. So make sure to mark your calendars. It's going to be a lot more games next week because it's the final bracket. So every game is going to be best of 3, single elimination. If you lose a best of 3, you're out. There's going to be 4 rounds for both Phantom Oracle and Emissary Archon. We're still going to have 2 streams covering it, so it's going to be very exciting. So it's going to start at 2 p.m. Eastern, same as today, but we expect it to go on much later. I expect it to finish probably around 9 p.m. Eastern, whereas right now it's 5:30. So obviously a much longer event. Should be very exciting, and we're going to have a lot more casters involved because we're going to do some rotation. Today Jordan and I could handle all of it because it was only 3.5 hours, but I don't know about you, Jordan, but casting for 7-8 hours in a row without any breaks, that's pretty intense. We could do it, but we probably wouldn't be thrilled.
Yeah. Not for a MOBA. Not my favorite thing to do.
Exactly. So that's first thing. Second thing, if you guys love the event, if you guys found it fun to watch, you want to support it, you want to join, type !DDS and you can join the Discord. And also, great way to support. You can Prime, use your sub, whatever you want to do. If you'd like to do anything, yeah, we have a custom Discord link, by the way, discord.gg/deathslam.
There you go.
We're cool. We got boosts in the server and stuff like that. We also have a tag on Discord if you'd like to represent. It's the Slam tag, right? So you can equip that once you join the server. But yeah, anyway, support in any way is appreciated. If you'd like to donate to the prize pool, contact me as well, and we can get that set up. And last but not least, shout out to Jord, shout out to Kashi and Dia. Dia's on Observer, Kashi's been producing, and shout out to everybody behind the scenes that's helping. There's so many people, so I shouted them out a few times already. I'm not going to name everyone, but if you're behind the scenes, you know who you are. You make this possible, so thank you so much, and thank you guys at home for watching.